Alrighty, we're
Uh,
back.
Yu Yu Hakusho. We
We're
did it.
back to Yu Yu Hakusho. We finished the manga.
Yeah.
It's the last episode.
Wow.
Wowzies!
Amazing.
Yeah, we covered the chapter Black arc and the Three Kings arc, which is I think we mentioned how messy the chapters were for all this.
Yeah, it was like 114 or 113
Something
until
along
like 175 or 176 or whatever it was.
something along those lines. Yeah, and
Something.
for anime watchers, that's episode 67, I believe, to 112.
Yeah,
Yeah, plus the
it's over.
one of the final chapters that didn't get adapted into the anime proper got an OVA in recent years,
Oh,
along with the two shots,
I didn't know about
the
that.
the terrorist one.
Oh, wait. Interesting.
Yeah, uh, yeah. I think we can just jump right into this and start things out with the chapter Black arc, which you seem to be a big fan of. Was that
Yeah.
your favorite? Was that your favorite arc of the series?
Uh, Maybe. I don't know how I would rank it like compared to like some of the earlier arcs that I liked, but
Yeah,
I definitely liked it more than like the other big arcs um like the Dark
our
Tournament
tournament.
and the Three Kings arc. I definitely yeah.
I definitely enjoyed it this time around compared to previous go throughs. I'm not really sure why. Maybe it was just because I was looking at it at a more like an analytical
Mhm.
angle, or maybe it was the manga because I remember some of my thoughts when I was watching the anime originally was that the arc could kind of drag a little bit, and here the pacing is a lot tighter, so that could be part of it.
Possibly.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know.
Hmm. Uh, Yeah. So yeah, we start off and we're
Well,
after what's that?
I was gonna say like we start off in a very similar position as we did on the first episode of this series. Somebody shitting themselves.
Oh yeah. Wait, what?
Koenma shit himself.
Oh, he did?
No, no, he didn't. But like
I
literally, like the
forgot.
first like two panels of
Oh
chapter
yeah.
114 was him like grunting or whatever,
Right.
and
I
then
remember now.
Botan's like, "Do you need a laxative?"
Yeah.
I just thought it was funny.
Now, now I remember. Now I remember that shitty little boy.
Yes, shit
Yusuke
jokes.
Yusuke shoves his fingers up Kuwabara's ass.
Love
Is
it.
that in the mount? I forget.
I don't think so, but
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
believe
we're
it.
yeah, we're just kind of jumping into right into the new issues and stuff because the first few pages is Koenma talking to Botan about strange stuff happening in a nearby city, Swarm City as the manga calls it, or Mushiori City as anime watchers will know it.
Yeah, I was gonna say Swarm does not sound like your typical Japanese city name.
Yeah, I'm sure that's the direct translation of Mushiori because I know Mushi
Probably.
means bug.
Yeah, that makes sense.
There's a lot of weird place names in Yu Yu Hakusho. Do you remember what Kuwabara's high school is called?
Yeah, it was like fuck.
Bone Engineering.
Yeah, I was like, what is Kuwabara? What? What?
I'm
What?
guessing that's some kind of like
Yeah,
pun or homonym in
probably.
Japanese, but in the
No, but
English
like just
manga.
thinking about like why is Kuwabara going to this kind of high school? And why
Well,
does this type of high school exist?
he wants to be a smarty. He wants to be smart now.
Yeah. Um,
He's my good man.
yes.
Yeah, Kuwabara's doing good, but Yusuke is not. He's kind of down in the dumps.
You know, just cuz.
Yeah, he's He's kind of feeling like I put in so much effort to beat Toguro. It feels like there's nothing left to kind of challenge me. What am I supposed to do? Like I put in all this work to get all this power, and now Toguro, the strongest dude around, is dead. What do I do now? It's interesting. Yusuke's always gone against the grain with a lot of common tropes with your standard shonen hero archetypes, and now he's kind of this. There's a lot of that going on in this arc, and this is definitely one of them. He, he's not just like he's not just going to continue trying to get stronger because that's what he wants to do, because there's no real reason to get stronger now in his mind. There's nobody left to challenge him really, and eventually he'll realize that that's a good thing. That it's preferable to be bored with no challenge than just to like keep fighting all these world-saving super high stakes battles.
Yeah, I mean, it's shonen.
Yeah, but like I feel like that's the thing with Yu Yu Hakusho. It deconstructs a lot of those shonen tropes. Yusuke's not Yusuke likes fighting, but like he's not into ones that like the fate of the world or the fate of his friends are in. Those ones are always like he's straight up on the verge of an anxiety attack every time, and that's kind of the point of the Demon World tournament. He wants to make it this just kind of like a
Yeah,
fun thing.
that's true. I mean, like, yeah, it kind of like concludes in a way that like, where Yusuke doesn't really want to have he basically wants peace, but he also likes to fight, so yeah,
It's about
just
finding
low stakes fighting, basically.
it's yeah, it's about finding that kind of balance between those two halves of his,
Hmm.
which we may get into more later near the end of this arc, but we'll come to that when we come to it.
Yeah.
um, yeah, so yeah, so that's what's up with Yusuke. Kuwabara is fine. All that's really wrong with him is that his powers are turned off. Is yeah, he
Because
says
he
it's
like died or whatever. He almost died.
I think it's because I think he mentions it's because of Suzuki's weapon, or at least it's implied that it's because of Suzuki's weapon. Because
Huh.
like, yeah, Suzuki himself said like these things have side effects that even I don't know. So Kuwabara is just like I think pumping up my powers so much kind of did something to me, and he's right. But for now, he just thinks like, oh, they're off for a bit.
Yeah, that makes sense. Now that I think
Yeah,
about it.
yeah. So yeah, that's what's up with them. And eventually, they're leaving school, and they get approached by three new characters, not demons, just normal ass human kids like them.
Yeah.
And this is around the time we're getting some narration from like Koenma to Botan, I believe, about how like all the strange stuff going on. It's usually the result of like demon powers doing weird stuff in the world of the living, but all this all the strange readings they've been coming from seemingly normal humans. And I really like how the attention is being placed on how ordinary humans, quote unquote, are causing all these strange disruptions. Because demons have like been top dog on the power scale for so long.
Yeah.
It's cool to see the introduction of this new power set of stand standatories.
Yes. That's what it is. Totally.
Territories are just stands, really.
They are. Yeah, I feel like it's kind of like a combination of like a stand and like the domains from Jujutsu Kaisen.
I can see that, but like, I mean, think about Game Master.
Yeah, that
Where
one's
you where
literally yeah.
that's just Darby.
Yeah.
it's but I really do love territories. I really
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I like how this fight after the Dark Tournament had so much sort of straightforward combat, straightforward powers to the point where our main villains unique powers just make muscle grow, become strongest. We have
Yeah.
all these fun esoteric powers.
I feel like the territories is like it's definitely up there in terms of like power systems for
You
me.
think so?
Yeah, it's really good.
It is, honestly. I like the adaptability to it as
Hmm.
well, and how they kind of like they're kind of people are kind of bestowed these powers, but like they fit the personality, like Kaito and his word games, or Amanuma and the video games and stuff.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. Uh, so yeah, these three guys and they challenge Yusuke to a fight, and as they go to do so, they reveal that they know a bit more than a normal street punks should. They know what Pooh is, of course, and
Yes, the most
the
important thing.
and the first chapter the first chapter of this arc ends with Pooh revealing to Botan and Kuwabara that Yusuke has somehow been kidnapped. Wowzers! He's the strongest. How could this happen?
Um, just because he's Yusuke and he's useless.
Useless
Yeah,
Yusuke.
useless Yusuke.
Dang. They Botan and Kuwabara are kind of leading the charge here. They go and get Kurama, and I like how Kuwabara just forgets completely that Kurama's not his actual name. Kurama's just got to be like, it's Shuichi here. Shut the fuck up. Like he's just trying
Yeah,
to cover his ass
I
so
mean, I
bad.
mean, to be honest, who really remembers that Kurama is not his real name?
I mean, that's fair. We've been away from normal society for so long in the story.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, really.
Yeah. So they get together. They just got to find Hiei, and they start making some plans. And the detective tools return. Do you remember those?
Yeah, wow. It's been a while.
Yeah. I
Sure, they'll be real useful.
Even though they just go away so quickly, I do that. This does make me think like this arc more than like other arcs really kind of marry the ideas of like it's a
Hmm.
shonen, but like spirit detective, quote unquote. Because this, I feel like this is the most like detective work they do in the series.
Yeah, definitely. It kind of throws it back to like closer to what the early arcs were like, while still kind of maintaining like the shonen
Yeah,
um stereotypes and stuff.
it's a solid mix of like all the high octane action of the Dark Tournament and the more down to earth stuff of earlier arcs.
Yep,
Uh,
which
yeah,
I like.
yeah, it's a good time. I appreciate that. Uh, EA joins the fray because they have essentially a dog whistle for demons, and they're like, no matter how many miles away, if he is in the city, he'll hear, and then he just falls out of a tree in the background.
Yeah, he was right there all along.
I was sleeping.
I'd I would love to just believe that Hiei was just following them the whole time, trying not to be seen, because he didn't
I
want to
believe
be,
it.
he didn't want them to think that like
I don't
he
want to see
thought
his
of them
stupid.
as friends or whatever. So he
What
just
they all doing over there?
yeah.
Yeah, I believe it. So with EA now on board, they can head off and they make it to the agreed upon place, which is the House of Four Dimensions. Ooh. It's a fun location.
It's
Certainly
got
more
four,
interesting
it's
than
got
like a
four dimensions.
yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, they actually have a little bit more detail than I was expecting in the manga about this. I think they mentioned that like it's this like art piece made by some architect, and the city just kind of left it up for tourism or something. And we actually get like maps the different floors so we can see like
Yeah.
okay, this is how somebody would actually live in this place.
It just looks like your average house in JoJo.
That's fair.
They all look like that. That
This house is full of stand users.
it's so true.
So
It
true.
really is, though.
Yeah. Legitimately, this is like, Kaito's Taboo game is just a stand battle.
They're all stand battles.
Really, yeah. So yeah, they enter after seeing a note on the door that for whatever reason they can't say the word hot, and they find one of the three punk kids, Kaito, sitting there. Him and Kurama apparently know each other to a degree. They don't like interact much, but they're like academic rivals of sorts.
Yeah. We saw his name earlier on the at Kurama's school.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
true. We saw that. In the anime, this whole section is extended a bit near the start, and we actually see three psychics before they meet Yusuke, just kind of going about their daily lives.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So yeah, from Kaito, we finally get sort of a explanation of sort about like, oh, we have these powers now. My power is this thing that I'll tell you about soon, but I should probably tell you that like don't try to fight me because that's not allowed here. And Hiei calls his bluff and he fucking loses his sword about it.
Yeah.
Unlike every single prior conflict, violence is not the answer here.
That is true.
I feel like I feel like Kaito's Taboo game is a great start to all these psychic battles, and like by specifically disallowing violence, it's really driving home the idea that like, okay, these are gonna be tricky enemies. You're gonna have to think your way out and get that point across well by disavowing a lot violence and having Hiei lose immediately because Hiei calls the bluff and just says hot straight out.
Yeah.
Sold for it.
It's really just the best way to like you said, it's just the best way to drive it home just because violence is the thing that they always jump to. So that's the it's just disallowing it is the best way to show them that that's not what they're here to learn.
Exactly, yeah. So we get a little bit more into it, and the gang is just kind of like sitting around waiting for things to I guess waiting for something to happen, and eventually in a moment of he's not being stupid about it. He's like, we just don't know all the rules. Kuwabara accidentally says word hot, but like,
He says shot
oh
and
yeah,
it
he
has
says
hot in it. So
exactly, yeah. And I remember in the anime dub, he says each other, which the H at the end of each and the OT at the end of other put together is hot.
that
And
one's
that's
a
the
little bit more of a stretch.
well, I think that's the point.
Yeah.
You got to think about like how does the word appear in any other words?
It's ridiculous. I mean,
Yeah,
obviously in the original Japanese it was different. We have no
yeah.
way of knowing how
In the original Japanese,
how
it's
accurate that is.
yeah. I forget what the word they start out with is in the original Japanese, but I know that like once the game starts going, it's kanji that's going away, not kanji, katakana. I forget what.
Katakana, yeah, or
Yeah,
hiragana. I don't fucking know.
one of those. One of
They're
those
they're
has gone
well,
away.
I guess in like speaking like vocal language, it's the same.
Sounds.
It's the
Yeah,
sounds.
yeah. The sounds are going away. When the English version, both the manga and the anime dub, it's the alphabet that's going away from backwards to forwards, and that's the game that gets stirred up between Kurama and Kaito after Kuwabara messes up in a way that like we didn't even know the rules, and Botan just kind of blurts it out accidentally. Like she sees Kuwabara's soul going on, and she's like, "That's not fair. He didn't even say hot." Shit.
Botan is the worst here Because like they immediately they just walk in and like into the building and it's like it's a little hot and she's like, "Oh my God, it's hot." Like like literally less than 10 seconds after they saw the sign that says not to say hot.
Yeah.
And then she does it again here.
I mean, this whole thing is this little exchange here is pretty much just to get Kurama alone.
Yeah.
That's what happens. Kurama's alone with Kaito, but he sets the rules for this game, and we see that like he's still got tricks up his sleeve because he's able to. Oh we also see one of the other psychics, Mr. Polnareff here. There, Yanagisawa. He's there and he's got the key. He's like barring the door, and as Kurama's laying out the rules of his version of the Taboo game, he reveals that he used the tropical plants around the room to pickpocket the key.
Yeah.
That's I like how Kurama's using his powers throughout this game, just like not offensively. It's fun. It's different. Yeah.
Yep. It's cool. It's just very like it's very JoJo esque.
Yeah.
I love it.
I always like this fight. I'm not surprised in a much later chapter, there's like a popularity poll about fights, and I'm not surprised that this one was mentioned on there.
Yeah.
I'm also not surprised that Kurama versus Karasu was number one on that list.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, they have this little word game battle where sounds keep going away over time. Eventually, while Kaito's in the bathroom, Kurama is able to knock Yanagisawa unconscious and turn the whole place into like a jungle. His powers, so he can sneak up on Kaito, and eventually, when there's only like one sound left, he goes by. He like sneaks up behind him and screams in his ear to try and get Kaito to scream. But that was a ruse because he just wanted Kaito to turn around. He makes a silly face, and we don't even see the silly face. But I'm fine with that because just the idea of Kurama doing that is fun.
Yeah.
Because he got Kaito to laugh, he wins.
Actually seeing it, I feel like would kind of ruin like Kurama's image,
A little
but
bit,
like
maybe.
but like just the fact that he did it is hilarious.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
A good way to
Um,
end the fight.
yeah. Yeah, this was a fun little exchange. After that, once Yanagisawa wakes up, they're able to move on to the next area, which is a bunch of staircases, and they each got to pick one. And because they kind of, because they got to split the party, they use another detective tool, a new one called the tracking stickers, which only the person who put it on you can take it off, and it changes color depending on like wellness.
Yeah.
I feel
They're hurt or not.
feel like these stickers, especially with the detail of like changing color depending on injury level, was like a setup for something that didn't get used.
Yeah, like I feel like the way they got used was it didn't make full use of like of
Yeah.
whatever the point of
Point here,
was
the
these things.
point here was to like show um how far the copy ability went in copying somebody. Like with the whole injury part, I feel like that was something planned for later in the arc, and they just kind of got forgotten about.
Yeah.
So this whole time, Yusuke has been upstairs with the last guy, Kido, the shadow guy. You can step on your shadow, and you're just paralyzed. You can't move, even someone as strong as Yusuke. And that's kind of we're kind of being told the main point here for Yusuke to learn with this guy, where it's that like Yusuke's like, man, if I had just known, I would have kicked your ass, and the guy's like, yeah, you didn't know, so now you're here. That's kind of the whole idea here. Yusuke's got to start using his noggin.
You can't just solve everything with punch.
Yeah. I mean, you will eventually. It's not for right now.
Yeah. Totally.
So everyone arrives, but there's a faker. Yanagisu's psychic ability is copy, and he's replaced one of the gang with himself. And Yusuke's got like 10 minutes to question them and pick out who's the fake. Otherwise, they'll kill the real one. And so we get a fun scene of Yusuke questioning everybody and failing because he doesn't know how to actually do this. Like, he asks Kuwabara for his birthday and blood type, and Kuwabara's just like, do you know my birthday and blood type? And Yusuke's like, no.
Why would he know? You just tell your friends, like, yeah, my blood type is this.
I mean, that's a thing in Japan.
Oh, that's
blood type
true.
It's like a
It's
like zodiac sign.
yeah.
It's like a personality quiz, which I actually learned based on something from this arc. I was in the ending montage. I was watching the anime the first time, and I think it's still in the manga too. And they were listing off all of like the psychics, like saying what happened to them. They listed age, birthday, and blood type. And I was just like, what blood type?
This was your first time being experienced to the whole blood type phenomenon?
I mean, I knew what blood types were, but I was just wondering, like, why are they listing those?
It's like always in every character bio ever in anime and manga.
Yeah, but like with character bios, I can kind of get it because you're getting a lot of other information like height and weight and stuff.
I guess. I mean, I feel like if you were to give like a character bio like over here, you wouldn't really list the blood type because it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, it doesn't
unless
matter.
like you're a doctor.
You're more likely to pick
a zodiac.
Give like a zodiac sign.
Yeah. Just because it's like personal information that people like to talk about and stuff.
Yeah.
It's culturally important.
Yeah, it's like a cultural thing.
Anyways.
Yeah, Yusuke just kind of has to question everybody, but he's just kind of not good at it. He's unprepared. Eventually, when he has to choose, he doesn't know who to choose, so he just kind of makes it's not random.
Oh,
he actually gives his
first they all try to like pull the stickers off, and it's just
off.
to see like because the stickers will tell them who is the fake, but Yanagisawa's ability also copies their like spirit wavelength or whatever, so they just everybody takes the stickers off and they're just no closer to discovering.
Also, apparently, copies memories as well. So, asking things like birthday and blood type, that's not going to work either.
Yeah, so basically, you just have to get lucky.
Essentially, and
or like let Yanagisawa like trip up somewhere.
Yeah, essentially. And so Yusuke does get it right. He punches Kuwabara, and that's Yanagisawa's. That's who he was. And Yusuke actually gives his reasonings. He didn't think it was Kurama or Hiei because he figured they're both pretty slick. They're not as likely to get captured like they did. And if his reasoning for Botan was like, if you guys had just like preyed upon the only non-fighter of the group, then like it wouldn't have mattered. I would have just killed you all.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And plus, also because Kuwabara can take a hit.
So. Yeah, that too. If he's wrong, Kuwabara can take it.
Yeah, Botan really can't.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Usually
he'd
probably
probably
just
knock her like head off.
yeah, she'd be a puddle.
Yeah.
So yeah, they won by the skin of their teeth, and we finally get to meet the master of the house. Kido has said before that like you've made a lot of friends and enemies, and one of them is paying us to do this. It turns out it was Genkai. Were you expecting that, Dylan?
No. I don't know what I was expecting, but well, it was. It was Genkai.
Was Alder Toguro? Boo!
I don't know. I just don't know.
Are you expecting Elder Toguro to return in this arc?
Yeah, I'm because like we didn't see him die, so that's how it works.
I guess.
If you don't
Didn't
see the body, they're done. They're still alive.
know who I was always expecting to see somewhere like in the second of these arcs, but like we didn't. We
We?
Hiei's opponent in the final round, Armor Dude,
Oh. Wait, he
still
didn't
alive.
die?
He didn't die. He's still alive.
Huh. Whatever. I don't care.
I don't know. He's boring as fuck. Who cares?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's Genkai was behind this, and everybody's asking for the reasoning, and it's actually it's a pretty solid reasoning, even though all of the pro tags are super strong. People people with strange powers like territories can beat them like almost instantly if they're unprepared, and they essentially needed this experience so they can be ready for the next set of enemies. Especially people like Hiei, who just kind of it's
Uh,
overall pretty useless.
don't really have much of a
Or
brain on their
on their
yeah.
heads, more of a hindrance than anything in
Yeah.
this situation. I love this is exactly what I was saying in regards to Hiei versus someone like Sasuke. Could you imagine like an arc in Naruto where Sasuke puts up like this and then like everybody just takes turns dragging him?
No.
Because that's essentially what's going on here. Everybody ends up taking a shot at Hiei for just deliberately breaking Kaito's taboo and getting his soul sucked away. Literally, everybody's just on his ass about it.
I think the difference is nobody like gives a shit about like Hiei like because he's edgy or whatever. But in Naruto, everybody is obsessed with Sasuke because he's edgy.
Exactly, yeah.
So that's the difference.
But here, nobody has any of that reverence for Hiei. They can just talk shit on him, little goblinoid.
He's just a cool little clown boy walking
Cool little
around in his
creature.
clown suit.
Walking around in his little black mini dress.
Yeah. Especially in the manga where everybody's like all their clothes are like relatively like light, so they're
Normal.
just not like so they're just white in the manga and then he's just
Right.
walking around in pitch black fucking
Just a little 3 foot black blob.
yeah.
There's a lot of panels where like everybody is saying something and we see like Kurama's head and Kuwabara's head and then it's just the top of Hiei's hair.
Yeah.
He's not even in the panel. It's
Uh
fun. Uh, so
haha.
yeah, ah, so yeah, because they needed experience for this new threat, they just start asking about the new threat, and yeah, we start getting told about what the general plot of this arc is here, and a lot of it has been dictated by Dark Tournament. There's a lot of plots that were like dropped there, being picked up here. This isn't all just coincidence. Sakyo's demon hole plan is being picked up by Sensui. He's become his plans because Yusuke's become spirit detective and because Elder Toguro told him about Yusuke, and territories are being created through the portal. It's all it all makes sense why this is happening. It's not coincidences.
Yeah.
good storytelling, just in general. So yeah, with the portal to Demon World is now a tangible threat with a time limit on it. And Koenma, who's been telling them all this stuff over phone, is just kind of laying out stakes. We learned about the demon class levels, which is like D through A and S beyond that, and we learned that Toguro was a B plus.
Yeah, the guy
So
who nobody could beat
yeah,
was a B plus.
there's a there's a reason for that because there's a barrier, a psychic barrier between human world and demon world that is able to let in D through B class demons. It stops A and S class, who are the real like. If one of them got into the human world, that's mass destruction and death and stuff. There's a reason why a B plus was the strongest demon around in human world.
I'm not. Is it that the barrier only blocked A and S? I thought it blocked like B through C actually, and it's just that
I
Toguro he was a human who turned into a demon, so that's why he was in the human world.
I think because uh, it may also block B class demons because I remember Toguro saying like even if I wanted to go to demon world, there's no portal that could carry me.
Hmm.
But it's that like I definitely remember Koenma saying like Yusuke asked like why is this what's the point of the barrier if demons can still come through, and Koenma's like we had to make some holes in it, essentially make it like a net that'll let in B and C and some B class demons because what we really are trying to
Hmm.
stop are the A and S class who are just these like city destroying monsters.
Yeah, I mean, there's also later on in the Three Kings arc, when the guys the frickin' monk dudes come, they come through the portal. They're wearing those things that like change their class down to like D. So I figured
Yeah.
like if it was changing them all the way down to D, then that was because only D class demons were able to travel through. So that's kind of where that's why I thought that.
I'm if it can only bring them down to D, I'm guessing it's just like it's sucking all but the bare minimum of their
Yeah,
demon
probably.
energy. Got little Kenpachi eye patches on their chests.
Yes, exactly.
I'm definitely feeling like later stuff in Hunter x Hunter, like the Dark Continent. I feel like it's definitely has this roots in all of this demon world exposition we're getting, as we're having Guro being Class B is putting us a lot of giving us perspective on how high the stakes are, sort of like how we learn the danger level of the Chimera ants in Hunter x Hunter after that arc's done, so we can build up the Dark Continent
Mm-hmm.
and how little of the demon world is actually known, how expansive it is. It's definitely giving me those vibes. Like I see Togashi's brain moving into the more Hunter x Hunter mindset over time.
I could also see his artwork moving into the Hunter x Hunter art style over time.
Yeah, this is still good in this arc, I think, but around the time of the Three Kings arc, it starts to get a little yeah, yeah. I know I don't want to like harp on this aspect of the manga because I know Togashi's had like a lot of health problems over the years, a lot of problem with the workload, and yeah, I know I want to be sympathetic and not harp on like oh bad art, blah blah blah. But yeah, this is like from here on we're gonna slowly get a little bit more like sketchy and less polished.
Mm-hmm.
Not that it's bad. I think like there's a lot of really solid art throughout into the end. I think.
It seems to be like a pretty big trend where like this the art is usually like the best in like the middle of the series, and then it just starts to drop off as like the art as like the author like gets fatigued from literally doing the
Yeah,
same thing every day for like a decade.
exactly. Yeah, from the start to the middle, they're still excited about the idea, and they're like gaining experience. They're learning, like, okay, I draw this character like this, I draw this character like that, and then the actual fatigue sets in, workload sets in, but like they can't stop. It's just go, go, go. The
Yeah.
jump editor's whipping at them.
Which is very unfortunate,
Yeah, extremely.
but also I want more manga, so
Fair enough.
anyways,
This is also when we first see Sensui.
that is true. He shows up and he looks very very odd in that
His
first
design,
battle.
Sensui's design is very simple. It's fairly simple, but it
Yeah.
works for the story, being understated like all of the newly empowered human psychics compared to bombastically powerful demons like Toguro.
Mhm.
Like, doesn't just look like a normal guy, Sensui. He's got a very, I call it uncanny valley.
Yes.
Like, he
That's it.
looks a bit too detailed, like a bit too normal looking. And then there's his legs. He's super tall and he's got these long legs, and at like certain angles and in certain panels they just look so long that they just look wrong. It may be an art thing, but I choose to see it as an artistic thing.
I don't know. Uh whatever it is, it's this isn't it.
Definitely see it. You're seeing like a proto Crollo Lucifer from Hunter x Hunter
Oh
with
yeah.
him.
That's immediately as soon as I saw him I was like, "What? Okay, I
Yeah.
guess."
Also might be Indian. He's got a little the forehead thing.
Maybe? I don't
What's it
know.
called? What's it
Yeah,
called?
yeah, the whatever it is. I don't know what it's
Bindi.
called. What?
Bindi.
Oh,
Bindi.
okay.
That's what it's called. I think. Might be stupid.
I don't know. I would just not even.
Yeah, I'm not touching that. Oh yeah, Hiei's piecing out. After after asking what his human rank is, knowing Toguro's a B plus, because of course that's Hiei's first priority.
Yeah.
Learns he's just a B class, and he's just like, he just kind of walks off. He's a bit salty about his loss, and he's like, man, this is the kind of fighting we're doing. That's kind of BS. I'm out.
Yeah.
And, it makes sense. He's got his own priorities. He's being cautious about these new psychics. It's also, if you're someone who likes Hiei, it can be kind of disappointing that he just pieces out for so long.
I think it makes enough sense that like it doesn't really
Yeah,
matter.
makes sense. And yeah, I understand. I'm just saying, like, I'm sure there are a lot of Hiei fans that wish he was around for this stuff.
Hmm.
But he gets a lot to do in the next arc, so
Yeah. Um. So
I think from there is when they move out to Mushiori City, or I'm sorry, Swarm City.
yeah, come on, dude. It's called Swarm City. Get it right.
I believe it is. There's a lot of bugs about. A lot of Demon World
Demon
bugs news.
bugs.
The anime, they
Ooh.
actually specifically connect these things to the Makai insects from the Saint Beasts arc. So Kurama says they're like distant relatives of those insects.
All right, that makes sense.
Neat little bit of continuity.
So the
Everybody's in
yeah.
groups. Or what were you gonna say?
Well, I was just gonna say what happens next.
They're in two groups, and Eventually, Yusuke's group with Genkai, Yanagisawa, and Kido. Everybody in his group.
Uh, yes.
Yeah. Eventually enter a territory unwittingly, and they go to look for the psychic because they're on the lookout for those. See if there's anybody, like if they can find any of the enemy psychics.
Yeah, they're
And they,
specifically looking for a psychic. And gee, I wonder what they're gonna run into. A psychic.
oh,
Oh my God.
yeah. They, in the anime, I remember it's just like a regular cafe, and Mirota just kind of like says something right off the bat because he can hear his thoughts. But in the manga, it's like a mahjong parlor or like a gambling parlor, and you find Mirota like cheating at cards and stuff. But yeah, he's able to. He just kind of calls him out, like, "You're here about the barrier, aren't you?" It's not because he's like one of the enemies. It's just because he can hear their thoughts. That's his psychic power.
Yeah.
He proves it by kicking Kido's ass. He's able to, without even knowing the power, without his power being said, he's able to understand Kido's power and avoid it.
I love how like the bartender guys are just standing there and they're like, we don't want you guys to fight in here. We don't want any trouble, and they're just completely fucking ignoring those guys.
Yeah,
That's hilarious.
yeah. I I like this little introduction for Mirota because it's good at selling how regular people are reacting to these powers
Yeah.
beyond the three new guys we know. Because this guy's just like,
He's gotten really cocky like by getting this power.
yeah, and he's not really freaking out about it. He's more just looking for ways for it to benefit himself. So in his eyes, it's like, okay, I'm a good fighter. I'm going to be a boxer. I'll be able to read my opponent's moves, and I'll never lose. And Yusuke could just kind of squashes that dream real quick because
By just being
Yusuke,
overwhelmingly stronger.
yeah, this whole section kind of Yusuke was kind of worthless in the last little section. That's the point, but this is kind of restoring our faith in him a little bit because, as Genkai says, like you were able to catch him yesterday, but like one-on-one fight. Don't forget, this guy's the Dark Tournament champion, and he's like Mirota's telepathy does him no good. He just like he knows Yusuke's gonna throw a straight right punch, and he does, and he's just so overwhelmingly fast that the mind reading does nothing for him. He just gets
He can't
blown away
react in
just by
time.
and he gets blown back by the air pressure of the punch.
Boom.
Boom.
He done.
Yeah. And him kind of like being dragged along as a forced member of the group. They're going to use him to search for people looking for the tunnel with his telepathy. And he does a little search, and there was a bit that made me laugh. At one point, he's just like, oh, "That girl," and everybody just kind of perks up, like an enemy, and he's just like, "Make out with her teacher. We've got to stop her or watch." Forgot what the manga said, but that's I just
It
remember that
says
from the anime.
it says she's totally got the hots for Yusuke.
Oh yeah, it's funny. I like the anime's version better, partially because he's voiced by Sean Schemmel, so it's just Goku having like a perverted freak out.
Wait, what exactly did they say in the anime?
Uh, Mirota's just like that girl, and then like he gets a nosebleed, and he's like, "That girl's going to make out with her teacher. We've got to stop her or watch."
Um,
Yeah,
okay.
it made me lol. Gave me a little lamau.
It is um
It's
it's got
Goku.
the funnies.
It's got that Japan. It's got the funnies. If you like that.
Whatever that
solid
is.
solid tagline I've got there. And eventually Mirota starts hearing the thoughts of somebody who's just kind of like evil.
He just it's just somebody thinking about like murder and shit. And
Yeah,
he's like, "Oh my God. I
gonna
never
need a
thought I'd hear this."
therapist. Yeah, it's Sensui, and he gives
That
he gives us a very funny look, Sensui.
This is really weird though because like do, do murderers actually literally just repeat in their mind over and over again how much they want to murder? I don't think that's how
Not,
it works.
not regular murderers, but Sensui apparently
Yeah.
real gung ho about the whole murder thing.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, and then Mirota gets shot in the head.
This poor guy.
Honestly, yeah, gets beaten up, gets a psychic shock from murder thoughts. He gets shot in the head. He gets infected by a little buggus, and then he gets eaten alive.
Uh,
Poor guy. Poor Goku.
he was just a regular guy, down up on his luck actually,
Yeah,
conning people out of money.
everything was going well for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
So,
well.
so after that, we move into the hospital. The hospital section is like what I think it's one of my favorites, like of this arc.
Yeah,
What did
it's pretty cool.
I think I liked it more in the anime because it has a couple more things going on with it, and the animation is really popping off. Yeah, and we start this little section by getting one of my favorite things in Shonen, a little list off of all of the minions, little fun little names. We get like there's 7 enemies, and they have these cool nicknames: Black Angel, Gatekeeper, Gourmet, Game Master, Doctor, Sniper, and Koichi.
What?
He's not Koichi. He looks just like Koichi, but he's not
Oh,
Koichi. He's Seaman.
yeah, semen.
My little cum boy.
True.
Or Seaman. So yeah, they're in the hospital, and it takes a little bit before they realize, like, oh wait, Doctor is one of them. We may be in trouble here.
I didn't think of that, did they?
Yeah. Why would a doctor be in the hospital? That's
That's so weird. Also, why
yeah.
would why are their nicknames like actually based on like what they do?
That's.
Like,
I mean, they were recruited by Sensui once they got the powers, so it makes sense that they got the.
no, I mean like, why would they let that information out?
I mean, they didn't. They got his. It was a mind reader.
Oh, that's
I'm
true.
not sure. I'm not sure they planned for mind readers.
Well, they should have. Come on, dude.
Fair enough. Sensui slipping, and you've already slipped because you're fucking bonkers, but you're slipping.
You're double slipping.
Yeah. So yeah, everybody just starts like a bunch more bugs show up. Lots of bugs in this series, and they're these little cool looking little syringe bugs that go around like pumping juices into people, and they start getting sick. Mirota and Yanagisua start getting like sick. They realize they're in a territory. They're in Mirota's just like, we're in the hospital. It's Doctor, and yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So Genkai and Yusuke split up to look for the stand user.
Yep, the stand user.
Essentially, yeah. Kido's able to find some staff and tell them like there's a person here like impersonating a doctor, and the doctor he's talking to is like, okay, I know all the doctors here, so I'll help you look. We may be able to find the imposter. There's an imposter among us. But the doctor is apparently acting a little sus.
The nurse is just like, man, it's weird that you're supposed to be off today.
Yeah, it's his day off.
Yeah.
And that's when we get the reveal. The nurse's just chest goes bursting with blood. And Kido gets stabbed a bunch of times in the back. This doctor is the doctor, the enemy doctor.
No.
Kamiya. Yeah. Doctor's powers are like totally busted.
Honestly, yeah. He could just
Does a lot of shit.
yeah.
It makes for very good circumstances for this fight. The insect virus is like a tangible threat beyond just like, oh, this guy is strong. It makes good on Genkai's warnings about esoteric powers. The scalpel power, this whole scene with Kido just being like made temporarily just like completely unable to move, and like his wrist is like sliced open, he starts bleeding out. That's horrifying. And like using the scalpel and his whole like changing his brain chemistry thing lets him fight on equal terms with Yusuke, so we're not just getting another non-action battle like the Taboo game. This is actually like, it's both like an esoteric stand battle of sorts and like the punchies that we're used to with this series.
Yeah. It's like a stand battle.
Yeah, I feel like we're gonna be saying that a lot. It's a stand battle.
I'm not
my
complaining.
favorite scene. No, this is great. These are all great. There's a really great scene where Yusuke arrives to find Kido laid out, and like, Kido can't say anything. He's in shock. He's stabbed in the back. I'm pretty sure all of his vertebrae are severed or some shit.
Something?
And like he's just he's gotta get the message to Yusuke that the doctor is in this room. He's one of the doctors here. He can't. And eventually, when Yusuke is trying to leave, Kido just activates his territory because he's laying on Yusuke's shadow, and Yusuke's just like, "Oh, I guess you want me to stay? Okay, talk to me. Just let me know." And Kido, we've never seen him use this power before. Like, I guess it's his power is called Shadow. I can buy it. He moves his shadow and writes with his own blood the name Kamiya, and that's able to get the message to Yusuke, and the fight can begin proper.
Yeah.
That's a good fight. It's a fun little fight. Did you enjoy this fight?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It's kind of crazy that this guy is like, I mean, like you were saying earlier, that this guy is like so his ability extends so far that he can like kind of put up a fight against Yusuke.
Yeah. I mean, this is the first of the Sensui Seven we're facing. He kind of needed to put up this good of a showing.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what I like most about it is just how much like rest of the cast is involved. We get this opening bit with Kido pointing Yusuke in the right direction, essentially. Yusuke and the doctor fight for a little while, and eventually, we're getting to the point where the doctor is essentially telling Yusuke, like, the only way my territory turns off is if I go unconscious, but I'm not going to go unconscious because I'm altering my brain's chemistry. You're going to have to kill me. And that's kind of the whole idea that Yusuke has to wrestle with for this whole fight. Could he kill a human? if he's killed things in the past, like Suzaku, they've
Mhm.
all been like demons and
Demons.
monsters. Even though Doctor's crazy trying to kill people, could Yusuke kill a human? That's kind of like the whole idea that Yusuke has to wrestle with, and it's by design. Sensui's whole MO is making these sort of situations for the characters where like testing their moral limits. Like I was saying before, one of my favorite things about this fight is the team aspect, how many other characters get involved. You have the stuff with Kido, and after a little bit of time fighting with Yusuke, who's wrestling with the whole "can I kill this guy" part, eventually a nurse who's sick stumbles in, and the doctor takes her hostage. But once she throws some chemicals in his face, it's revealed that's actually Yanagisawa in disguise. He's using his copy powers.
Yeah. Despite being like fucking dying.
Yeah, good on him. Soon after, Doctor feigns giving up, and he has some stuff on him that he says, like, this will cure all of the sick people, just let me go. Then Mirota shows up too, and he used his mind reading to be like, he's lying to you. That's just glucose. He's lying. That's when Yusuke kind of makes up his mind. He's just like, okay, I'm gonna have to kill you, I guess. To his credit, he does so.
Yeah. Except he doesn't actually die, but still Yusuke had he you know,
Yeah,
he did it anyways.
yeah. Genkai saves Doctor, and for specifically the reason of like, we've got a lot to do. We can't waste time with you brooding about killing a guy, and yeah, that makes sense. I don't feel it takes away from like Yusuke's struggles here, because like, even though he was saved from having to kill somebody, he still decided to do it and went through on it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's about where the hospital section ends. Probably one of my favorite sections of the arc.
It was pretty cool.
The anime, it's actually had some stuff, specifically Keiko and Shizuru.
Really?
Yeah, in the anime, that's something I was like not expecting when I opened the manga. Keiko, the only time, well, Shizuru is not in the arc at all. Keiko's only appearance in the arc is much later when Yusuke dies. She finds Atsuko with Pooh,
Yeah.
who's not moving, and that's her only appearance in the arc, Keiko's.
Which is strange considering she was like there for the entire Dark Tournament.
Yeah, and I'm guessing that's what the anime felt as well, because she's present for a lot of this. She's not there for like the House of the Fourth Dimension stuff. As they head out to Swarm City, Keiko and Shizuru end up following Pooh, who's following Yusuke, and eventually they make it to the hospital as the doctor's doing the fight and stuff. And Keiko gets stabbed with the bugs, so it's essentially like getting cutbacks to Keiko, her conditions worsening, Shizuru trying to get away from the bugs. Eventually they run across Genkai, who helps them out a bit. It just kind of adds to the tension having these more established non-fighter characters be caught up in that.
Yeah, definitely.
Makes it more of like a horror movie, which is the kind of tone they're going for in this section.
Yeah, like instead of just like random fucking people at the hospital, there's actually important characters there that,
And
just raises
random
the stakes.
people, and like newer people that we're not quite used to yet, like Yana and Kido and Mirota.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Kamiya's in prison.
Oh yeah, get a little before we get into the semen stuff. Get a little quick scene with Kamiya in prison. He's just kind of like fucking his philosophy or I guess Sensui's philosophy, more like the police. It's actually kind of funny because the police are just like,
What?
you're here for like attempted murder, not attempted genocide. What are you talking about?
He's
And
like,
Kamiya's
well, I want to.
full on having his Joker moment here.
He really is.
You ever wonder what it's like to see a man kill another man as well, just full of piss? Sir? Sir?
Are you okay?
Do you need water? I need the blood of the innocents. Oh boy. So yeah, it's been a little bit since that when we cut back to Yusuke and Ko. Yusuke and Kuwabara just kind of discussing things at school. Eventually, Botan busts in with the. Oh yeah, there was a part of this the last section that we didn't mention. The second group with Kurama, Botan, Kuwabara, and Kaito. They went to like the center of the area of effect, essentially, of
Yeah.
like the portal's effect, to find like the center of the thing and see where the portal was, but they couldn't find it. It was just an empty field, so they thought like, okay, it must be below ground. So now we're getting a follow up on that, and Koen is basically like, okay, scratch that 3 weeks, you got 1 week. And the reason being like, okay, we thought the dome was like half of the sphere of influence, but it's actually just like the top section. The sphere is a lot bigger than we expected. Now they only got a week. This whole arc has kind of been on a ticking clock, but the clock keeps changing, and that adds to the pressure in a big way, I think.
Yeah,
So
because
we
like
keep losing time.
they keep like planning, like they have all this time. They can, rest for a couple days. It's
Do a
okay.
long rest.
And then
A long rest, and it's like, what are you doing? We have 16 minutes. I thought we had a month. No. Stupid.
What are you talking about? You should have planned ahead for this.
Stupid.
Well, maybe I
child.
should have, but
Yeah.
fuck you.
Yeah. Everybody gets set to out again except Kuwabara because he's got plans. He's seeing a Metallica concert. No, I'm sorry, a Megalica concert.
Yeah.
His
So,
twins.
yeah, so Kuwabara can't, Metallica's more important.
I
Sorry.
mean, to be fair, Kuwabara doesn't have his powers right now. I'm sure in his mind it's like, I can't do anything, so who cares if I go?
I don't know if that was going through his mind. I think he just wanted to see Metallica.
Yeah, probably.
He's Kuwabara.
Yeah. At the end of the day, he's Kuwabara. It turns out that was not a good idea because Seaman's on his heel.
Fucking semen.
You have to look up what he looks like in the anime because he just looks like Koichi.
Okay.
So yeah, I was never that big a fan of this section, but like that may be just because of the anime, because it really pads out this fight in the manga. It's a very quick fight between Kuwabara and Seaman.
Koichi. He literally looks like Koichi.
Yeah.
When's he gonna get the flat top?
I wish he came back during like the Three Kings arc and he had a flat top.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm changing my look.
Okay.
When are we gonna get Seaman Act 2?
Act 2. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. So it's, I mean, the fight's fairly pretty good fight, I think. Kuwabara's friends end up kind of getting taken hostage by the water monsters that Seaman can create. And Kuwabara doesn't have his powers, so he's just his whole MO is just punch and hope things work.
Basically,
They do.
that is how things work. But yeah, I mean, yeah. So he does take his friends hostage. I think this power is pretty cool because um, it's kind of like Aqua Necklace,
Oh
where like
yeah,
it's effective and only effective in the rain. But I like the aspect of it where like he has to like put his blood into the water in order to control it, which is
yeah, I like
that's
that
pretty
too.
cool.
I hope we get to see much more usage out of it beyond that.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. Also, it's literally looks like a stand.
It does.
Wow,
Very plain stand, but a stand nonetheless.
that's great.
Yeah, and at Kuwabara, for me, what really like Kuwabara's shining moment is after the fight's over. But as the fight nears its conclusion, Kuwabara is just pounding from the he's inside the monster with all his friends, and they're drowning because it's made out of water, and he's just beating on the end to try and get out, and eventually little shards of his spirit energy start coming through and hitting Matari Seaman, and it turns out Kuwabara is the guy they've been searching for. Sensui's group has been looking for a psychic with dimension opening powers that could cut through the spirit world's barrier between human and demon worlds once they get the portal open enough. And it turns out that's Kuwabara. That's the power that's been kind of like brewing inside him since the end of the Dark Tournament. This dimensional cutting sword.
Just happens to be the one ability that Sensui needs. I think that's cool.
I like it. It's
I lo
definitely
Yeah.
after like Kurama got his access to his Yoko Kurama form. He had mastered the Dragon of the Darkness Flame. Yusuke got Genkai's Spirit Orb. This is a good like permanent upgrade for Kuwabara, even if it kind of like I don't. Like, it's
It's
kind of
kind
like
of
with
coincidental.
more than that. Like, okay, so think about Seaman and his powers. Seaman's powers are like he creates these water monsters, and once you're inside, you pretty much can't get out unless you can slice through dimensions, which is the power Kuwabara now has. And so, like, you never see Seaman's territory again because, like, if he used it on someone like Sensui and trapped Sensui in a big water monster, Sensui probably would drown and die. And with Kaito too, like he never uses his word game power again because it like turns off physical violence. Someone like
Yeah.
Sensui couldn't defeat Kaito in there. It's too strong an ability to use consistently. It's more just there for the specific circumstances of the they take part in the Kaito versus Kurama word game and Seaman versus Kuwabara. Kuwabara's dimensional sword is similar in that it's needed for the story and it's needed for here. If he's using it in another fight, that turns all of his fights into essentially like a one-hit kill fight because it can cut through dimensions. It's pretty much the whole idea behind it is that it can cut through anything, even dimensions. To like, so if he was fighting just a normal guy, if he's got his dimensional sword, if he gets one hit, he wins.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why this is Kuwabara's last real fight in the series. He takes part in the fight with Sensui, but he never gets a hit off, at least in what the anime shows. Because, hey, it's a dimensional sword. If Sensui gets hit once, he's like dead. To that point in what the anime shows, Sensui is able to tank attacks from Yoko Kurama and tank the Dragon of the Darkness Flame, but he goes out of his way to avoid Kuwabara's sword.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to write fights when you have an instant kill, unless you're basing the fight around it, like here with the Seaman versus Kuwabara.
The
Little
one
tangent.
the one thing about Seaman's power is like how how is it specifically like so strong that once you're trapped you can only get out with a dimensional sword? I I
Because
just don't understand.
that's what the situation called for. This fight
Yeah.
is built around two powers that are completely overpowered unless you're fighting one another.
Yeah, I know. It's just it's weird that like a power that's based on water would like have like that level of durability.
That
Just like
dimensional
just
aspect,
like logically, it's weird.
I guess. Yeah.
Um anyways, yeah, so there's this cool ass panel of Kuwabara. Um well, I don't know, it's not a panel or whatever. It's just Kuwabara like all damaged and bruised up, facing down Seaman. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. That was a good panel.
Super detailed.
Yeah, this is, and like, yeah, Seaman goes down, the Kuwabara, and like he thinks he's dead. He thinks Kuwabara's gonna kill him, but we know Kuwabara better.
He doesn't
Kuwabara just
kill.
he grabs all three of his friends and Matari and just starts dragging them back to Yusuke's apartment, get him healed up. And once again, just like in round two of the Dark Tournament, it's Kuwabara's empathy that's taking center stage. Even after like the crazy dimensional sword power up, it's his empathy that's really kind of saving the day, because Seaman's just like, this isn't what Sensui said would happen. You're a human. You're supposed to be evil. And Kuwabara is just like, I right now I wish I was somebody who would kill you, but I can't just ignore you. I can see it in your eyes. You're scared. You want somebody to help you. Well, guess what? I'm doing that. So just become 50 pounds lighter. I'm carrying 4 people.
Because he's Kuwabara.
Exactly. At the end of the day, it's Kuwabara. Good lad. Good boy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think what we cut next to is just Matari waking up in Yusuke's apartment.
Yeah. He wakes up in there and
Everyone's hanging out.
gives him some information.
Gives him some orange juice. Gives him a pat
Yeah,
on the back.
that's true. They're just chilling out in Yusuke's room reading dirty magazines.
Yeah, reading cool manga, Yu Yu Hakusho.
Yes. Yu Yu Hakusho hentai. Um yeah. We learn about the what?
That's good.
We learn
You're
about the
saying,
black chapter.
yeah, we learn about chapter black and chapter white.
The what?
Yeah, they mentioned chapter white too, don't they?
No.
Yeah, Kurama mentions like Matari talks about like the things Sensui showed him, and uh, probably some of the other psychics. Doctor definitely.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure if Sniper or Gourmet. Game Master definitely didn't see it. Itsuki probably watched it, but he was probably already evil.
What is
Yeah,
this chapter white thing you're talking about?
Kurama mentioned, he says to Matari, like, you only saw chapter black. That's one half of the story. Chapter white is like the opposite. It's like a compilation of all the good of humanity. You're supposed to watch both back to back. You only saw chapter black, so you only have half the story.
I'm pretty sure none of that came up in the manga.
That's,
Yeah.
doesn't he? Doesn't he say like that's only half the story or something along those lines?
He might have said that, but that's like very vague.
I just, I just making up the name Chapter White because stupid.
Uh
What's the wiki?
oh no, it's on the wiki. Uh Therefore, it's logical to assume the companion tape is called Chapter White, which contains the greatest instances of human kindness. So it was
Ah,
never stated that's the name of it, but it's kind of implied that it exists. It says
okay.
according to Koenma, Chapter Black tape is part of a set which is never meant to be seen alone.
Okay,
When
yeah. So
was this? Yeah, it was only in the anime, episode 79. Yeah, so that was not in the manga. Uh, I mean, it makes sense, definitely.
yeah.
Where the fuck? So, anyways,
Yeah.
are you good to go?
Yeah, Matari just kind of had as Kuwabara had kind of assumed. Matari's not really a bad guy, more just kind of having in the middle of just kind of like a mental breakdown of sorts. But the others are able to kind of talk him through it, just kind of breaking down like all these terrible things I saw on the chapter Black tape. How can I go on living after seeing all that? It feels like I close my eyes and I see all those victims. Like he's describing all of this terrible, all this like, you know, all, you get it. You get
Oh,
why
yeah.
he's freaking out. The others are able to kind of, calm him down.
The one thing about well, the the thing about the chapter Black, when it first, when Kurama first explained what the chapter Black was, he was talking about how it's like, um,
It's,
all
it's
about
like
the
famous,
all about like the darkness of humanity and like all the bad things humanity's done. And
right?
he just drops that Hiei is really interested in it because
Oh
of
yeah,
course he is.
yeah,
Hiei really wants to he wants to see all this death and destruction because he's edgy.
yeah. Because he's crawling in his skin.
It's just like he- just for entertainment purposes.
Yeah, for funsies.
Yeah. Uh Hiei.
Oh boy. Oh yeah. Um, So yeah, Kurama after that mentioned he mentions well everybody's wondering kind of wondering like how they get this if this was like Spirit World Records and Kurama is like that's why I wasn't around yesterday. I was seeing Koenma about this. He knows more than he lets on, especially about the ringleader of these bad guys. And like as he's saying, like I believe that if we go again tomorrow and choose our words carefully, and then we just cut to Yusuke on the briefcase laptop phone, just being like, "Hello, Earth to Koenma, front center." I always just love the Dubs version, which is Earth to toddler, bitch.
Wait, what? Really?
Yeah, Earth to toddler, bitch.
That's great.
Yeah. So yeah. um this is where we finally get to learn a little bit about Sensui the bad guy. One was giving us the dirt on him. As it turns out, before Yusuke, he was the spirit detective.
Yeah. Turns out Spirit Detective is just a thing that people can be other than
Yeah.
Yusuke.
Uh, it, this is a great twist, and makes a lot of things kind of fall into place, and other gaps are going to be filled by Koenma soon after. How do you get the chapter black tape? How like how he knows about Demon World? We knew about like the portal and stuff. It all just kind of makes things fall into place.
Yeah.
He's got a really cool backstory as well. It's like it's tied into the lore and stuff because it involves Sakyo and the Black Club.
Yet
Like,
another group of people interested in the
World.
in the demon world. Yes.
It's Sensui's just like a very interesting villain. It's like having a character whose views are so black and who like his views were so black and white, suddenly having the script flipped in such a horrific way. It makes for a really solid backstory. Sensui has always just been like humans are good and demons are bad. I get it. Then like he saw what the Black Club were doing this one time, and it just totally just kind of broke him.
Mm-hmm.
Like the anime really kind of pussies out in this area because the manga shows us in pretty graphic detail what kind of stuff they were doing. We see like dismembered demon corpses. We see like just parts strewn about this whole swimming pool full of blood. I think a lot of like some of the most horrific stuff about it is like what we don't see because like we have just this like little cutaway panel to like three scared looking sort of cute looking demon girls and like just knowing what's been happening,
it lets your mind
kind of
fill in the blanks. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, I'd go as far to say this is like berserk levels of violence and gore, just with how much detail is being put into just strewn apart bits and the dismembered parts of demons.
Yeah.
It really sells it.
I completely lost my train of thought. I had something I was gonna say.
Is it about Sensui?
I don't know.
Is it about Sniper?
Sniper.
The fucking
No, I no,
man.
I know who Sniper is. I don't know. Whatever.
Sniper, I hardly know her. I just Sensui is just a character, and he as a villain he makes for a great contrast to Yusuke to the point where like it's noted in story. That's why part of the reason why Koenma chose Yusuke as Spirit Detective. He's just so opposite Sensui.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, there you go.
It's actually really cool because like it's always felt really weird that the main character of this series about like a guy fighting evil or whatever is a delinquent. So this kind of like it kind of explains that, which is cool.
It gives things context. Koenma tried the righteous, just kind of person for the job, and when they were exposed to the gray morality of the world, he couldn't take it and essentially just flipped the script. The demons are okay, but humans are the real monsters. With Yusuke, whose life's been steeped in gray his whole life, he probably wouldn't have that kind of reaction.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Also, he would also presumably see the chapter white. Yes, because that's the thing.
It's a thing. It may not be called chapter white, probably is, but may not be called that. But it is a thing. It's part of a set. That's
it makes
canon.
perfect sense that it exists. So I don't know why it's not in the manga.
yeah, this is around the time where they realize they're being watched across the way on top of the roof of the opposite building are Sensui and what appears to be his right-hand man, Sniper.
Snipey boy. He's just
Sniper boy.
there.
It's just cool. Yeah, they shoot up the apartment and get some people outside. Kuwabara and Yusuke went out to confront them. Genkai, Koenma, and Kurama follow suit. So does Atsuko. She's around
Yeah.
here. Unlike
She's
the
just
anime,
like,
she's
damn.
around.
Yeah.
It's just like kind of wish I kind of wish she was around in the anime because I just wish I could have seen this in motion because it's just like
It's
the
great.
lineup of the heroes and then it cuts to Atsuko next to them just like brushing her teeth or something. She's like, huh, "These the new bad guys are fighting," and Kuwabara's just like, "What did you get here? Get out of here!"
It's great because she was just, they were all at
Hang it.
Yusuke's house, of course. So
Yeah, she had been like. I feel like the number of panels she appears in this whole arc, you could probably count on both hands. But like every time, it's funny.
yeah.
During Kuwabara versus Seaman, Yusuke was like frustrated at him and just said like I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna go to the arcade. And Genkai thinks like, oh, that's just a front. He's going to look after Kuwabara, but he actually does just go to like the arcade or the pachinko parlor or something.
I knew from the beginning. I was like, he's going to the arcade.
Yeah, Genkai was just like, it's a front. Yusuke is smarter than that, and then it just cuts to him at the arcade at the pachinko parlor. In the anime, it's the arcade, and he's actually playing the
Yeah.
same game that a game master plays.
I was surprised when later on Koenma was like, "Damn, Yusuke, why didn't you go and uh watch over Kuwabara?" I was just like, did you expect him to do that?"
Yeah. Oh yeah, Atsuko. In that little bit when Yusuke's leaving, Atsuko just pops up and she's like, "Give me a pack of cigarettes." You're out. And then there's this bit here where she's just like, "Oh, these are the new bad guys are fighting." Kuwabara's just like, "Get out of here." And then when they're about to leave after Sensui blew up the apartment, she's just like, "I'll stay behind and make up an excuse for the cops." Good on you. Use your talents. But yeah, this is finally get our meeting between spirit detectives, and they have it's a much longer fight in the anime. In the anime, they run all over the place, but in the manga, it's just this quick little chapter-long exchange in the same general area. The apartment still gets blown up by Sensui, but they just kind of stay in the same place until Gourmet and Game Master roll up in the pickup truck to grab Kuwabara.
The
Whereas in the
pickup truck.
anime, they run all around the dang old place.
Yeah.
feel like I feel like Sensui's fighting style. This like first of all, it's another great contrast to Yusuke. He's a highly trained martial artist with all like his main fighting style is specifically said to be like you can only learn this after mastering like so many other fighting styles. Versus Yusuke, was
Punch.
a street brawler.
Yeah.
That's a great contrast. And the compared to like compared to a style like Choose Drunken Fist, the manga gets across much better the idea behind Sensui's style to the point where like at the start it's giving us almost a play by play. It's like stating outright the basis of the style so that we understand and we can just make things a bit quicker once the main fight later gets going. We know all the details. You didn't have any problems kind of getting Sensui's fighting style, did you?
No, I mean it made sense. It was all based on like reversals and stuff.
Yeah. And he's got his own little his own little spirit attack instead of a spirit gun from the finger. It's like a spirit bomb that he could kick a soccer ball of sorts.
It makes me wonder, like, can he actually do the spirit gun though? Because if you like go back to the beginning of the series, it was actually Koenma that taught
Yeah,
Yusuke the spirit gun. So
sure. I'm sure he could, but like as Koen said, spirit gun is like a beginner technique that Yusuke just kind of maxed out strength in. Sensui being so highly trained
yeah,
has his own kind of thing going on.
he's got his own techniques that he's more accustomed to.
Yeah. And yeah, this whole fight is just kind of an ass kicking on Yusuke's end until Gourmet and Game Master roll up in the car. Game Master is the one driving, by the way. They don't really mention it
What?
in the manga. They don't really mention it, but the anime makes it very clear.
Oh,
Like Kuwabara, like well, because yeah, Game Master and Gourmet are the only ones in the car. Gourmet is in the passenger seat, keeping Kuwabara restrained with his tentacle hands, and Sensui is sitting next to them. So only Game Master is left to be driving.
yeah, I'm looking at the panel right now. He's behind the wheel. What the
Yeah,
fuck?
anime actually adds like scenes with in the villain car, and like at a certain point, Kuwabara just has to ask like, "Hey, that kid's way too young to drive. Is this safe?" Game Master's just like, "It's fine. I've played a lot of racing games. That's not this. It's not what this is."
What the fuck?
Yeah. So,
I'm done with manga for today.
and Sensui is not the. I mean, you couldn't get a better getaway driver than like a 10-year-old.
Right? Just get some random fucking person. They don't even have to have fucking powers.
Honestly,
Just
why
somebody
don't
that
you
can
drive?
drive.
Just sitting there. Why don't you drive, you lazy asshole?
Yeah.
So yeah,
What a guy.
Yusuke just kind of takes off on a bike. You know, he's super strong. Of course, he'd be able to ride this bike fast. That's not That sounded like sarcasm. It's not sarcasm. It makes sense. He'd be able to just ride, catch up, and the others just kind of regroup for a hot sec. Um, Mitari finally joins the gang for real here because Botan pushed him out of the way of a falling bookcase, and it just kind of like, yeah, his beliefs that had been instilled in him by the Black Chapter is like they're being challenged. They keep being challenged, and he finally kind of nuts up and decides to save the world.
I love how Yusuke is just fucking chasing after this pickup truck on a regular bike.
A regular ass bike.
If you actually like tried to do that in real life, you would just break the bike.
I mean, if you tried to shoot lasers from your fingers in real life, that
Yeah,
wouldn't work either.
that too. Imagine doing that.
Imagine being able to shoot things from your fingers.
Yeah. Oh, this is the part where we get to see Kuwabara wearing questionable clothing.
Wearing a shirt and
Y-
pants.
yeah, shirt and pants.
Oh yeah. There's a chapter cover of like the four main guys,
Yeah,
and Kuwabara's got a little thotty top.
yeah.
Show
Interesting.
that. Show that on screen. Show everybody at home
I
that.
will. There was actually a part earlier.
And now
I
show
don't.
Sensui making that face.
What face?
Hold on, I'll send you the face.
Okay.
The face on screen. Hold on.
There was a part earlier where you could see like Yusuke, like under his shirt, he was wearing the same thing. You
Huh?
could just see like the top of it. It was funny. I want to see this face.
Give me a sec. God damn.
No.
Don't you sass me. Just hold on.
I'm
There's
holding.
my phone. Hold your horses. Hold your phones. There's the face. That face. See the face?
What the fuck is that face?
We saw it when Mirota was looking at his thoughts. He's made the face.
Well, that is certainly the face of a serial killer. Genocidal maniac.
It's a face. That's the face a dog makes when you drop a little food on the floor.
True.
Or
food?
Show Sensui's face and Kuwabara's thotty top at the same time.
That's the face you make when you see Kuwabara. At all.
When you see those, when you see those hot shoulder blades.
Just whenever you see him in general.
That's fair.
I can't even imagine what his face would actually be like if we were to see him like that.
Like that, but like a little bit more smiley.
True.
But yeah, this is Yusuke versus Sniper. Sniper rolls up on his cool fucking motorcycle.
Oh yeah, there was also another Atsuko moment.
Oh yeah,
where they're all like, let's leave, and then Atsuko's like, I'll tell the cops the story.
Yeah.
She's just not. She doesn't even care. Her whole apartment was just set on fire. She's just like, whatever.
She's probably half drunk.
Probably.
So yeah,
good stuff.
Yusuke versus Sniper. It's Sniper. Sniper's not exactly that interesting. Like he's got a certain cool factor about him. Now, at a base level, he is cool. And, putting him beside Sensui so much before now, sort of giving us showings of his power, kind of built him up some, and it is a pretty cool fight. He marks Yusuke with these little like little bullseyes, and that essentially means like anything he throws will hone in on him. Combine that with his previous powers of giving things deadly force, as if he shot them from a gun. It makes for a pretty challenging fight for Yusuke. It starts out with just little rocks and shit. Eventually bumps it up to like knives, and eventually he sends a dang semi-truck after him.
The one thing I didn't get is why didn't Yusuke just like get on the semi-truck?
That would have. I wonder what would have happened.
Like,
would the semi-truck just like
stop? It should have just stopped because he was already in contact with it.
You like get on, like hang on the front of it, and like aim, like if he aimed his body to the left, would it have moved left with him because it's trying to hit him, even though it's like he's on a windshield or something?
I don't know. Either way, it would probably be better than trying to outrun it.
I mean, to be fair, caught up to a speeding car on a bike.
That's true.
And he was going through the woods, so he had trees to slow it down.
Okay, true.
Yeah.
Then again, it's also it was a fucking gas truck.
Yeah.
So
I wouldn't.
You want to get as far away as possible from that shit.
If he had gotten on it, then Sniper probably could have done the thing he just did after and pulled out a gun and shot it and made it explode.
Yeah. That is a good point.
Yeah. That happens, and if Hiei hadn't just made his return right then and there, Yusuke would have died. Yusuke just straight up loses this fight.
Yeah. It's cool, like, with the arc setup, it was like, Yusuke has to change things up. He can't always like confront things head on. So this is another example of that where like he wasn't ready for this kind of fight.
Right. It's only thanks to Hiei that he's like survives.
Yeah.
And yeah, he kills Sniper or not. I mean, it's
Who
just a stab
knows?
to the chest.
Yeah. That's all.
You know, who cares? And yeah, it's like Yusuke just kind of has like once Yusuke's awake again, he just kind of informs him like, look over there, the demon portal's almost done. Yusuke just kind of has like a little breakdown here. He's so frustrated with like all this, battle to save the world shit, with all these enemies that keep pulling all this kooky stuff that he can't keep track of. He's just kind of frustrated. It's interesting. Like so many shonen heroes, when they're always so pumped up to be fighting new and interesting opponents, but with Yusuke, he's just kind of sick of this shit.
Yeah, well, because so much is at stake. It's not just, it's not just a
Exactly.
tournament where,
Yeah, so this
the
isn't
only
like
thing.
fighting. This isn't like fighting Chu or Jin. Like there's serious stuff going on, and this guy's trying to kill him. Like he can't really. This isn't fun. He's not having fun.
Yeah. The whole human world is at stake.
And that leads into Hiei versus Yusuke round 2.
Apparently.
Yeah, this is a very it's a very Hiei way to show that Hiei cares. He doesn't want Yusuke running in, guns blazing, and dying. He's not the type, talk him through it. He just gives Yusuke what Yusuke needs, which is just a low stakes fight for him to get his anger out. He's basically acting as an outlet for Yusuke's anger so he can clear his head. All the punchies he wants to get out before he has to stroll into the den of evil, so to speak.
Yeah. They gotta do it.
And then it ends with a nice little bro moment where we see that some demons are starting to slip out of the portal, some low-level demons, and Hiei and Yusuke just have like a little moment. They say like, "Dang." He is like, "Dang, now that I see that these are the people I have to share the earth with, I'm not as into the portal anymore. You want to step up, Yusuke? Yeah, let's do it, Hiei." And they just off these two demons.
They get fucked.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And so he and Yusuke regroup with Kurama's group, and they're about to enter the cave, Sensui's lair. Uh, uh, the basic their idea for now is like, okay, we're just sending in Yusuke, Hiei, Kurama, and Batari. Sending in just the mains right away would like getting all would seem just like we're just getting all the side characters out of the way for the climax. But most everyone actually plays a role in the climax, mostly involving Game Master. Is
Yeah.
it a deliberate? Is it a deliberate subversion? I doubt it, but whatever. I'm getting what I want.
I did find it weird that like they were like, okay, you guys go in, and then they go in, and they're like, oh shit, we need everyone else. Let's go back and get everyone else real quick.
At this point, it's essentially doing what Game Master was made to do by Sensui, which is waste time.
Yeah.
They just kind of spend like 6 hours dealing with this shit, going back and forth, having to wait.
Yeah.
Uh, Eventually, we do start up the Game Master battle. In the anime, or the English dub of the anime, the game is called Goblin City, but in the English manga, which I'm guessing is closer to what it's called in Japan. The game is called Game Battler.
Yeah. Well,
They
because
have to
they are battling games.
they have to defeat the evil Gamer King.
Damn. The Gamer King.
Can that be my name?
Sure, Mike. You can be Gamer King.
I mean, sure. Sure, Gamer King. I mean,
Gamer King.
Very
funny. Are
I
you
feel like the
what?
uh,
Yeah,
uh,
go on.
I feel like the Game Master section is probably like a straight up reference to the second Darby brother.
Yeah, I probably.
Like it's just so this whole like we've been making the stand jokes this whole time, but like this is just so similar. I feel like there's got to be some level of reference.
Well, I'm convinced that like all of this is references. So, yeah.
Might be.
I don't know. No, I feel like pretty much all of them are like some kind of reference to JoJo.
Can say it. I think I'm sure this wasn't made as a JoJo reference, but like something like this, I feel like is definitely some level of JoJo reference.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, the Game Master section is basically they have to play all these different mini games, and to my surprise, as a previous anime only watcher, the manga skims almost all of the actual game stuff.
Yeah, it kind of just cuts to like what's important.
Yeah, essentially. The anime actually shows all of the game stuff. We do see a good amount of Matari's tennis game, and that's because like this is all basically this whole fight is about the characters and stuff, and part of that is Matari analyzing his switch to good, essentially standing up against Game Master's taunts about like, oh, you were a little pussy in school, and that's why you hated everybody. Don't you still hate everybody? And Matari's just like, no, there's
No,
still some good in this world.
He's like, no, I'm Koichi now.
I'm the good boy. Hear me roar.
I'm now reliable.
I'm the most reliable guy Jotaro's ever met.
There we
I
go.
swear. Yeah. But that's the only... That and the last one are the only one... Well, of the first three, that's the only one to really see. Genkai's shooting game is skipped over in the manga. In the anime, we see it. And the third round is different between the two mediums. In the manga, Ana uses his copy ability on Kaito to copy his gamer skills and is able to beat Game Master in a puzzle game. In the anime, it's like a beat 'em up kind of game with Yusuke playing.
Really?
I guess they figured that would be a bit more like cool to see in movement.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But it also means Yana does nothing in this entire climax in the anime.
What a fucking joke.
Your hair on straight.
What? Be more like Koichi over there, dude.
Yeah. I wonder if Matari saw Yana's hair and is like, I should get a flat top.
Yes.
But yeah, those were all just like AI minions. Now the Game Master himself is setting up and he's going to do a trivia game against Kaito. And we see Kaito's pretty much like as much of an expert on the game as you can be. Because he can just like, he doesn't even need the full question to know what the answer is. He's basically memorized all 17,000 questions.
Because he's a nerd.
I love his line in the anime. It's like, everyone needs a hobby. I go, gaming is the common hobby. Even Genkai, we knew from the Genkai tournament that she was a gamer, and that we brought that back.
Yeah. Oh, and Kaito's even like I'm seeing this one line here where he's like, that's game speak because he's a gamer. It's the gaming lingo.
That's gamer lingo. I wonder if I could psych him out with some more gamer lingo. Let me try. Amanuma. The cake is a lie.
What the fuck are you talking about? I never played Portal.
This is 1991. Damn it.
Well, you should have. You
Yeah.
can't call yourself a real gamer.
Yeah. Only play mobile games. Little best. Um. So yeah. So yeah, Kaito gets the first 5 questions, and we think he's just like a total expert. But then Amanuma just starts being able to answer the questions without even knowing them. It turns out he's memorized like the seemingly random question orders. Now he knows exactly what questions are coming, and he's able to just beat Kaito wholesale just because he's that like knowledgeable about the game.
Mm-hmm.
It's whack, wild.
It is very whack and wild.
Yeah. So Brahma's got to step up for the puzzle game, but this is around the time where he starts making a realization. Like, the game master's territory, it brings games to life, and everybody's got to act out what happens in it. So, like, if the good guys fail to beat Game Master, they can either continue and try again, or give up, and that'll mean they'll all die. But if they win, the Game Master dies, which means Amanuma dies. And Kurama realizes, like, this Sensui planned on this. This is just like with the doctor trying to goad Yusuke into killing someone. Sensui's trying to see if they have the guts it takes to kill a child who doesn't even know what's going on. Because, Kurama basically just asks all these questions, and Amanuma's coming to the slow realization that, like, if he loses, he's going to die straight up, and Sensui planned on this. And that was Kurama's plan. Genkai straight up says, like, it's a cheap, like, tricky little shit plan, but it's all we have to do. Kurama's doing the right thing by psyching this kid out and telling him he's gonna die so that he won't play as good. And
Yeah,
this whole game is so fucking sad.
it is.
Amanuma just like keeps fucking up because he's so nervous, and eventually he's just asking Kurama, like, is there any way out of this? I don't want to die. Kurama just can't, like, he just stays stone faced this whole time just because he can't let up. Because if he lets up, then everyone dies. Just got it. He's got to do what he's got to do. It's
Mm-hmm.
eventually we just get like I just remember this moment so clearly from when I first saw it in the anime, because it's like you hear like the little victory jingle while we're closed up on Kurama's face, and it slowly becomes more and more shadowed as the game voice is being like all triumphant, like, you have triumphed. The game master is dead, and Game City is free. So we just have this slow pullback to reveal Amanuma's dead body. It's so fucked up. I love it.
Yeah. I don't have much more to say on that.
Are you
I mean,
expecting it to take this turn?
no, I wasn't, which is yeah, it's surprising considering we had the thing earlier where Yusuke had to he had to kill Kamiya, but now like Kurama literally has to kill like a fucking kid.
Yeah. Kid that didn't know no better. Kamiya was crazy. Amanuma was just gullible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's definitely yeah,
It's a good time. It's a bad time.
bad time indeed.
At times wrong.
Even like with like just in the manga, it's still like really tense and everything.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah, this is around the time Koenma's showing up. I think Koenma appears in
Yeah.
the living world and basically tells Botan like, "Okay, I'm going in. I'm going to follow them. If in 2 hours you feel an earthquake, we failed. Go get my dad."
Yep.
That's it. That's Koenma's just on his way, but now we're stepping in to the Big Bad's lair. We've got 3 villains left: Sensui, Itsuki, and Gourmet. And Gourmet is stepping up. So he basically says, like, okay, if you kill Gourmet, I'll give you back Kuwabara. And so Kurama. This is also around the time we get a little cutaway, and like it's like a little radio broadcast saying the doctor, Dr. Kamiya, escaped. Which it's an odd place to put it here because it makes it seem
Yeah.
like he's going to show up for the final battle. But he doesn't.
Yeah, it's weird.
Whatever.
So yeah, so they go to fight Gourmet.
Kurama steps up and like between chapter, like he steps up at the end of one chapter, and the first page of the next chapter is just Gourmet's head being split in half in the center.
Yeah. This good stuff.
Yeah. At this point, we know like he ate Elder Toguro's like leftovers because he was using those powers against Kuwabara. But this is where we get the truth behind it. Kurama is just like, I know you're not dead. Come out, Toguro. And Elder Toguro's head just kind of wriggles its way out of Gourmet's lower jaw. It's so creepy. I love it.
I'm sure you do love it, don't you, Mike?
I
You love this sort of thing.
I do. I love this body horror shit. And yeah, Elder Toguro, after I I think if I recall correctly, he actually conspired with Sensui to do this to Gourmet. It wasn't just like Sensui making the best out of what happened. He had actually planned for Elder Toguro to just take over Gourmet from the inside out.
Huh.
He does so. It's really the anime actually shows us little flashes of it where like Elder Toguro's face appearing like in his stomach and like on his hand, freaking him out. It's really scary. I love it. Yeah, we've got Elder Toguro to fight. He's he's pretty much the perfect punching bag to get Kurama's anger out on.
Yeah, because he's like just so fucking evil that like you could just do whatever.
Yeah, with Gourmet, like if we were fighting actual Gourmet, we'd need like time to understand like who he is, how he fights. Like just time we don't really have, I guess. I'm sure everybody wants to get to Yusuke versus Sensui, so I'm fine. And I like Elder Toguro, so I'm fine with this. And it makes for a great like what Kurama does to him. Like there's no real like sympathy. We know he deserves it.
Mm-hmm.
Just like it's not even really a fight. Kurama set up his seed and he took off Gourmet's head. So he just makes a smoke screen and just lets it happen to him. Toguro just gets trapped in these illusions, and we see like he's in this special demon world tree that makes you experience like nightmare illusions. And it like sucks away your life force until you're dead, but Elder Toguro can't die, so he's pretty much trapped in a hell.
Fucking Elder Toguro.
A little beast.
He's living in the dream world forever. Whatever.
Okay.
It's literally fucking like
It's just
like,
a quick thing.
just yeah. Um This
Yeah.
fucking the whatever the plan is that that is on Elder Toguro, that thing looks creepy as fuck.
Oh yeah.
It's got like a face on it.
So cool.
Yeah.
So Kuwabara gets returned to them through unknown means. He was on the boat earlier, and then he's just behind them. He's just like I don't know. I just felt like hands around me, and there was shadows. And we get our answer right away. A giant face appears on the ground and eats everybody and spits out Yusuke. This is Yura Otoko, or Reverse Man, is apparently quote unquote a two-dimensional demon that it's basically Itsuki's pet.
Yep.
Yeah, he's he's fine. It's a fine way of keeping Yusuke and Sensui one-on-one. This is also the time around when Itsuki's role in all of this and his personality and stuff is told to us. He's like in love with Sensui. Like he's also in love with how like it's the purity that draws Itsuki to him, essentially. And like when Kuwabara is like, why don't you stop? If you love Sensui, why don't you stop him from doing all this terrible stuff? And he's just like, because I don't want to interrupt his purity. The fact that he was able to go this far shows how good he was originally. It's like a real like whacked out thing. And oh yeah, I love the story of how they met, because like Sensui was just gonna kill Itsuki as normal because Itsuki turns out is a demon, but Itsuki's just like, give me one more day to live. And Sensui's like, why? He's like, there's an actor on TV tomorrow, then I really want to see them.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense because it shows Sensui that like, demons can be like people too. Not all demons are
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
evil
It's
like that.
it's the start of the lesson he learned when he saw what the Black Club was doing.
Yeah. There's not like a huge difference between humans and demons, basically.
Yeah, essentially. I just remember like a line, like a little quick exchange from the dub where Itsuki's just like talking about what Sensui means to him, and he's like I've always wondered if we could be lovers, and Kuwabara's just like, yeah, I don't think my young years are old enough for this. But yeah,
True.
we finally get to the real showstopper here. It's Yusuke versus Sensui, round two, and we got a ticking clock at that. Much better ticking clock than the Toguro fight, I think. It's like the Toguro fight, the ticking clock was like, I'm gonna suck in everybody's souls, but like everybody who we care about was kind of behind a barrier. We didn't know, like, is this gonna hold? Is this like, are they really in danger? But here it's like we have an actual clock ticking down to the opening of the demon portal.
Yeah. It's cool.
Yeah. So they fight.
They do fightings.
Do that
Yes.
fighting. I like how Sensui lays out their strengths and weaknesses and doesn't dismiss Yusuke's pure power advantage. Like he doesn't sound cocky when he says that he'll win. He sounds analytical. Because like he's saying like, I'll give you that you're a lot stronger than me. I'm more highly trained and I have more aura than you.
Yeah.
He doesn't just sound cocky.
Yeah. He kind of like he said there was like four reasons.
Yeah. But he still forgets Yusuke's trickery. So, like bits like Yusuke throwing up that rock and making Sensui think it's him after kicking up like a dust cloud. getting a hit on him through that, and the wet t-shirt trick. But those both catch Sensui off guard, and it's real fun.
Mm-hmm. Yusuke just like he's able to fight like he was never like we were talking about earlier. He was never like really formally trained in any like martial art. He's just like a street fighter. So it makes sense that he can like pull off all these tricks that like you wouldn't expect.
Yeah, Sensui wouldn't expect them. It's
Yeah.
like it reminds me of Pirates of the Caribbean. Funnily enough,
Yeah.
like the main guy and Jack Sparrow have like a sword fight, and Jack Sparrow pulls like a dirty trick to win, and the main guy Orlando Bloom's like, if that was a fair fight, I would have won. And Jack Sparrow's like, but it wasn't a fair fight, so I won.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
Fucking
And you
Pirates of the Caribbean references.
shout out. So yeah, they have a little fight for a little while, and Yusuke eventually, through his trickery, Yusuke is eventually able to start getting some solid hits. That eventually leads to Sensui popping off with a goddamn gun hand.
Gun hand. What the fuck happened to his real hand? Like, did he just like take it off?
I have no idea.
It like came out of nowhere.
Yeah, like I don't know if that was like a fake hand, if it was like if it has something to do with switching to this other personality, where the other one came from. I just don't. Has he always had this? Did he lose his hand? I just don't get it.
Yeah,
Could have just had him like
weird.
conjure an aura pistol of some sort.
What if what if the hand he had on top of it was just like elder Toguro?
Yeah. Greatest Toguro and Guro.
Yes. I don't know.
So yeah, this is when we're revealed that Sensui's got split personalities.
Yeah.
The Sensui Seven wasn't the bad guys. It was all inside Sensui's head. Those personalities are the Sensui Seven.
Yeah. Yeah. That was weird.
It's intriguing, but it feels superfluous. You could have just had him be like a mood swinger if you wanted him to like go from calm to really crazy.
Well,
maybe
what I really think it was, I think it was like it was like the thing with Miyuki, where, where Togashi kind of wanted to bring light to this like, kind of,
I don't think so.
Well, because multiple personalities is kind of like it, in a way, it's kind of like being trans, and it's like a type of a type of person that like is
a marginalized
person. Community. Yeah. The thing is
like
today, even today, it's still not really like an acceptable thing.
I mean, with Miyuki, there was like a message Togashi was trying to deliver. It wasn't a good message, and it wasn't delivered well, but it was still like a message. With this, like, it doesn't feel like there's any real message here. It just feels like he's extra crazy. I think maybe the point was like to emphasize like the purity of Shinobu Sensui while still letting Sensui do fucked up things like shoot Yusuke up. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's another really superfluous thing about Sensui that we get revealed like after the battle is done. But we'll get to that when we get to it. Yeah.
This is like the one thing that really just doesn't make too much sense about this arc.
And it doesn't even really like
add anything
or go anywhere. Once he reverts to Shinobu Sensui, that's how he is for the rest of the arc.
Yeah. I don't know. And then there
It's
was
really
also this part about uh how one of his personalities was Itsuki mentioned how one of his personalities was like a girl or something,
yeah.
and how he like
That
liked
one
her
wasn't
or
like a
something. I don't know.
yeah. I think if I'm recalling correctly, he said like one of the non-fighting personalities is a female. She's my second favorite behind Shinobu. Like I don't get
Okay.
yeah. The point, please, sir. The
I'm
point.
glad I'm not the only one that was confused about all of this.
Yeah. Uh, and this is after Yusuke gets shot up by the fun personality Kazuya Sensui. That's when Koenma finally arrives. We're finally seeing like what his powers are, the truth behind his pacifier.
Ugh, I can't believe that was it.
I love that his pacifier actually has like a purpose.
Oh my god. It's
I
so stupid.
I think it's cool to see Koenma taking responsibility like this, willing to
Yeah.
trap himself and Sensui in the demon world. He's like, this I made Sensui spirit detective. This is my fuck up. I'll take responsibility. That leads to a great Yusuke's first comeback. He's preventing Koenma's sacrifice in a way that I actually found reminiscent of all like how he'd solve a lot of these like very tropey problems early on through his like blunt personality, like back when he was a ghost. Like he just
Mm-hmm.
takes the pacifier, and Koenma's just chasing around like a little chibi, and Yusuke's like, no, no, takes it down his pants, no. Then he just
Mine.
totally, then he just totally fucks us with Kazuya, and so he smashes him in the chest. And yeah, after that is when Sensui personality that we actually get to see shows up, the original Shinobu personality. Once
Yeah.
again, making his face all getting all uncanny valley with it.
Ugh. Yeah. It doesn't look as bad as like when he was
Jason
first
earlier.
introduced. Where like I don't
Still,
know. I
still
I
kind of off-putting
yeah,
in a good
definitely.
way.
In a good
But
way.
yeah, like the way he's like he wants to shake Yusuke's hand, and then like when he refuses, he just smashes him in the face. A
Yeah.
good time. And this actually might be the reason for the split personality thing for the sacred energy or a holy key, as the manga calls it.
What is?
Like ha- being able to have like the sacred energy thing, but not having him using it prior. Only Shinobu has
Oh,
it.
yeah, yeah. Definitely. Yeah, I
And
mean
it's
that makes sense. Like he has to be himself, like he has to be Shinobu in order to use it. He
harness
has
it,
to
yeah.
be in a certain mind state.
His pure self.
Yes.
The sacred energy really turns this whole situation all fucky.
Again.
Really you really feel how bad things have gotten when like Koenma's power fails to the point where when Yusuke actually like gears up for the sacrifice play, it really does kind of feel like the only way.
Hmm.
This is uh this is also around the time Kuwabara starts like freaking out, like you can't die, you're a Meshi. I am your rival.
Or something
I
like
haven't
that.
I haven't gotten to fuck you yet.
That is the first priority.
And that reawakens the dimensional sword cuts through Reverse Man, Kurama and Matari and Kuwabara. They're free. And they're going to back up Yusuke. Everything's gonna be fine. And then Yusuke gets shot and dies.
Yep, before they can help. Well, Yusuke is dead for the second time.
Yeah. Second verse, same as the first. Cut back to Atsuko and Keiko. Really is really sad. They're like, Pooh isn't moving.
Yeah, that was a moment.
Sad. Yeah. And this is also around the time where the demons break free. The demon portal is open. Hiei's got it. He sends them all back through with the dang old dragon. After so many stand battles and like Yusuke only fights that are like physical, it's really cool seeing the Dragon of the Darkness Flame and Yoko Kurama again.
Yeah, it's finally got like they've taken out all of the stand users now.
Yeah,
So it's just back to fighting demons again, I guess.
This is also it's also one of the only team battles in the series, so I always remember it.
Yeah, it's cool.
They're taking things to Demon World. Shove Sensui through the portal. Or he goes through the portal, I forget which one. They're heading to Demon World to finish things. Kurama, Hiei, and Kuwabara.
Mm-hmm.
Matari, he's gonna hang out with the corpse of Yusuke.
Yeah, because he's a stand user. He can't fight those guys.
It's not like there's a big lake of water in this cave.
Wait, true. Very true. I think it specifically only works in the rain because
it doesn't specifically work in the rain. That's just when it's strongest because he has so much water.
Oh, I guess. I don't know. It wasn't really explained.
They just brought a dang water bottle.
He's like Katara in Avatar where he just carries water with him all the time.
I mean, he's pretty much a waterbender.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Just mix his blood in there.
Yeah.
He's a bloodbender.
Oh. Yeah, we cut back to Spirit World, and it's the first time real that we're seeing King Enma, and he's big.
Yeah,
kind of all there is to say about him.
Yeah, he's like just sort of there.
Sends off the spirit police or whatever. Those guys.
Yeah, that was weird. That there's just a group of like elite spirit people,
Soldiers.
guys.
Yeah.
And this is the first time we're seeing them after everything. Okay.
I think he had sent those in for like, I don't know, the 4 Saint Beasts stuff.
Yeah, that seemed like to be a pretty big deal back then. I don't know. Whatever.
Finally arrive in Demon World. Finally seeing more of it beyond just Maze Castle. We start up the fight down there. Yoko, Kurama, Hiei, and Kuwabara, and off Sensui on this big plateau. And we get a new power from Sensui, the Sacred Energy Armor, or Holy Key Cloth in the manga. Looks dumb.
Yeah.
Design,
he looks weird.
Design was a lot more slick without it.
Whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Back to the corpse of Yusuke, which may not actually be a corpse.
Whoa.
Remember, hey Dylan, do you remember Pooh? Remember how the whole idea behind Pooh was that like he would guide Yusuke's soul back to his body, but they ended up not needing to do it the first time, but he's still around, so he's can essentially serve that function again.
Huh.
Ignore that. Yusuke's part demon now.
Yeah. Yeah. That is like probably the weirdest fucking development ever.
Yeah, and I'm 100% sure Togashi just kind of pulled it out his butt because
Yeah.
this is when Togashi wanted to end things around, but they were like, no, do another arc after Yu Yu Hakusho is popular. So he needed an excuse to bring Yusuke to Demon World. So here's one of them. His ancestor was a demon. Now he's part demon. He's a throwback or a Mazoku.
Yeah.
It really only exists just to set the next arc into place, an arc that Togashi hadn't even planned for. Could have just been Pooh reviving Yusuke like he was always meant to do, which he kind of does, but
I just really like the idea of Yusuke just being a regular human who's
too.
like able to overcome like the difference between humans and demons in order to defeat all these powerful demons.
Yeah,
But no, he's actually a demon himself. That's why he's so strong. Didn't you know?
and that had been kind of what he was. Now he just has
Yeah.
extra strength. Now he's got extra demon strength.
Yeah. I don't know. It's kind of like the Naruto thing where Naruto's supposed to be this guy who works hard and then eventually it turns out he's actually the reincarnation of Jesus, so he was destined to be strong or whatever.
Yeah, whatever. At least Pooh looks cool as a phoenix.
Yeah, Pooh is pretty cool. Just could have been used better.
Job. Yeah. So Pooh carries off Yusuke and Koenma to Demon World to back up the guys. And it's good timing because they're kind of on their last legs down there.
They're getting their asses fucked.
Oh yes.
Yep.
See, he's like, God, I wish that were me.
True.
And yeah, Yusuke shows up. He's back to save the dang day. It's
Turns
cute
out
seeing Hiei
yeah.
and Yoko Kurama laugh like that. This is around the time where they do that, right?
I don't remember. Maybe.
I
What do
just
they
remember
laugh at?
something Yusuke says or does.
Maybe.
They'll probably laugh at his stupid fucking tattoos or something. And Hiei says podner.
Oh yeah. Wait, who was that? Oh yeah, it was Hiei.
Yeah.
Podner.
This isn't a good translation.
Hold on there, Podner.
Hiei is definitely the type to use slang like that. Good job, translators.
Yes. That is Hiei's character.
So yeah, the climax begins Yusuke versus Sensui. And I know a lot of people find the climax of this fight to be a bit disappointing since Raizen hijacks it.
Yeah, I mean, whatever.
Like, and again, that seems to be the point. Even Yusuke is like not a fan of how the fight ends. Wanted to finish things himself.
This whole like section of the fight, or I guess just this fight in general, where like Yusuke is just kind of like powered up and gotten all his demon powers, and they're just having a fucking like DBZ fight over here.
Essentially.
I don't know. That was it's just it really gets your blood going.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a very hype fight. I won't deny.
It's exciting.
That.
It's like it's just one of those like fights that like you can always kind of go back to and watch and just be like, wow,
Yeah.
like that was good.
You can just get caught up in it.
You know, like a lot of the fights in like Seven Deadly Sins and Black Clover that
Yeah.
we talked a lot about.
Yeah.
It's great.
10. So Sensui go. Raizen takes over Yusuke's body because he's not using his Mazaku energy good enough, and Raizen's Yusuke's ancestor.
Yeah.
And he's the one that finishes the fight with a super duper spirit gun on Sensui. Yusuke's not a fan. He wanted to finish the fight himself, but nobody. Sensui's wounds are fatal. Itsuki shows up and explains, like, even if they were able to heal him, apparently Sensui only had 2 weeks to live anyway. This is that other superfluous bit I was talking
He
about.
had cancer all along.
Why?
I
Point?
well, I don't know.
Yeah. I talked about, like, early on in the video, I talked about, like, how a lot of stuff in this arc is, like, being picked up from the Dark Tournament. There's not a lot of coincidences. This is a pretty dang coincidence that they were able to complete this plan just around the time Sensui was gonna die. It's good timing.
Wait, what do you mean? I mean, like,
what if the Dark Tournament was, like, took place a month later than when it did
oh
in
yeah,
canon, so we wouldn't have lived long enough to open the portal. What if it had happened? What if it had happened like a year?
yeah, that's true.
Since we still had a year, it wouldn't be that dramatic to say since we only had 1 year, 7 months, 5 weeks, 2.5 days left to live.
Yeah.
Okay.
Since we didn't even know that he had cancer until like after, like when,
Yeah.
because it was Kamiya that told him he had cancer or something,
Oh
and
yeah.
that was like he recruited
It was
Kamiya and everyone after
wasn't even
he set the plan
it,
into motion.
yeah. It wasn't even like he's starting the plan because he knew he was dying. It was just something like he learned after the fact.
Yeah.
Is it supposed to be like how Sensui was so cool that he was able to kill Yusuke even when he was dying, like pulling an Itachi?
Like they didn't. It's not even like that. They needed to have him dying anyways, so that he would definitely die in this fight and not be brought back. They could have just been like, yeah, he's just too damaged to be healed.
Yeah,
They
and
could.
that's what they say.
Yeah. So what
So
the fuck is the point?
that's exactly what they say. It's Itsuki. What Itsuki is telling them is just like, even if you could, it wouldn't matter. But we can't. So why does saying this matter?
It.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I love this arc, but there's just a couple things that are just so weird.
Yeah. Yeah. Mostly towards the end.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's like it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Itsuki takes Sensui's body and is basically like, I'm not letting you take him to your dumb underworld, Koenma. We're gonna have our own little afterlife with blackjack and hookers.
Yeah.
And yeah, they peace out. Yusuke is like, he's pissed and he's like, now that we're in the demon world, I want to find my ancestor. Apparently, he's still alive, I guess. Give him a piece of my mind. Koenma's like, you can't. The portal's going to be closing in like 50 hours. Either you stay permanently or you go back permanently. The chapter ends with Koenma being like, you have 50 hours to decide. And I guess the cliffhanger idea is like, oh, Yusuke's going to ponder this for so long. But then the very start of the next chapter is Yusuke just being like, I don't need all that time. I'm deciding we're going back to the human world.
Yeah. Because he's human.
And they do. Back to the human world.
They do that, indeed.
Yeah, Amanuma's alive.
Yeah. I
Koenma put a,
yeah.
Koenma put a little bit of his pacifier juice into Amanuma, Sensui's plan, so that Koenma would waste a little bit of his energy from the pacifier.
Uh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I noticed. I actually saw like I saw Amanuma in a panel earlier than this. He was just
Yeah.
there, but like kind of like in the like he was like it was like a panel like from the distance where like you could just see like the outlines of everyone, and I saw like a short person in the background. I was like, that's Amanuma.
Yeah.
What? Okay.
Yeah. And we get a little ending montage showing where a bunch of people kind of will be going, or what'll they'll be doing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like it's the end of the series.
coming. Yeah, it's almost as if Togashi wanted to end the series here.
Yeah.
Uh, Kamiya turned himself to good again. Matari regained his normal life. Sniper lived only to just kind of fade into obscurity. Amanuma started to become more like a normal kid and interact with other people more.
Stop being a fucking gamer.
Yeah. He makes
Yeah.
friends because he's a gamer. Gaming is the true way of life.
True.
Gourmet is dead. Itsuki and Sensui are hanging out in, I don't know, limbo or whatever. I think that's everybody. Mirota's dead. The anime has a little scene of Kaito, Yana, and Kido being told by Genkai, like, don't use your powers anymore.
Wait,
And
what? I don't remember that. Why?
that was just in the anime.
Oh, wait, why?
I don't know, just to keep the balance or whatever, so they can have normal lives.
Okay.
Get caught up in all this bullshit.
That's
They do
weird.
have a little. They do have a little goodbye with Yusuke in the manga anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, work over.
Well, that was an interesting end.
Yeah.
The whole arc was uh literally the Fullbring arc from Bleach.
Yeah.
Well, or more like the Fullbring arc was literally this arc.
Mount arc too. The opening with the three psychics trying to teach the main characters a lesson about being ready for esoteric powers, all put together by the mentor. That's copied wholesale for the start of the Bounce arc. Bleach.
Yeah.
Yeah, as you said, this is just the Fullbring arc as well.
Yeah, it's just a lot of well, not just similarities, like it's literally just the same storyline, just with Bleach characters.
Pretty much.
Yeah. It's great though, because I love that arc.
Yeah, I like that arc too, and I love this arc.
It
I had
was
a
pretty
feeling
cool.
you would really enjoy it.
There were a couple hiccups, but it was good.
Yeah. Times.
Definitely great way to come off of the Dark Tournament.
Yeah. It was a good time. And now we get to
next arc.
Three Kings arc.
Yeah. That thing.
An arc written by the seat of Togashi's pants. Similar to how he was at the end of the Dark Tournament, Yusuke is kind of feeling a bit of ennui. He feels like he doesn't really fit in can't really get a challenge out of the human world anymore. He's always felt like he didn't fit in, and like all this power, all this fighting, it feels like that as well. And Koenma actually gives him somebody like, here, talk to this person about it. Turns out it was the spirit detective before Sensui, Kuroko
Sanada.
Sanada.
Yeah. she was the first spirit detective.
Is she the
Apparently,
first or
that's
just
what
the
it
one before?
says. It says
Oh,
first. It doesn't. It doesn't actually say that she's the one before Sensui. It just says she's the first in the
I
manga.
think she mentions like handing things off to Sensui, like to
Uh,
Yusuke.
yeah, probably.
Yeah. Even though she's not like all that important, she only shows up for like 2 chapters and doesn't isn't mentioned after. It's still cool meeting her and her
Yeah.
family. They're all fairly neat, and they all kind of like they have their own personalities and they give cool insight to Yusuke.
Yeah, it's cool to see like what what the life of someone in Yusuke's shoes, is like, further down the line after like retirement.
Yeah, yeah, they're fun. I kind of wish we got more of them like later in the arc because they're kind of interesting.
Hmm.
Hokushin, however, is boring.
That's the fucking guy that
Yeah,
shows
that's
up, right?
yeah. Of them, all the
Uh,
monk guys, he's like the main monk guy.
uh,
Raizen's followers appear in the human world saying like we can take you to meet Raizen, Yusuke, but it'll have to be for a few years. We can't just go willy-nilly. We have these little things on us that suppress our powers so we can get into the human world. And Yusuke and him have a little fight, and Hokushin wins, but like he wasn't fighting for serious. He just kind of why were they fighting again? What was he trying to teach Yusuke?
he was trying to teach Yusuke that it's not all about power, which was the lesson of the last arc.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, you can I think you can really tell Togashi's original idea was probably for Raizen to be Yusuke's actual father, but like passed on
Yeah.
that idea. It's like all this
Yeah.
talk about like your true father. Yusuke's always called his son. And, like the reminder that's like an ancestral thing is always like a footnote.
Hmm. It's which is I I I don't know why specifically why can't it just be his father?
I don't know. Maybe they're just like maybe maybe Togashi thought of the whole
Well,
throwback thing, the Masuko thing, and made it an ancestral thing before he thought of all the father stuff. And when he thought of that, he was just like, I should have made him Yusuke's father.
yeah,
And
because like that it's so much cooler thematically like if he is his father, right? Because then
yeah,
it's more of like a direct connection that they have.
they pretty much just treat him like that.
Yeah.
It really just feels like
Yeah, it's just weird.
settled on the ancestor thing too quickly and just kind of tried to salvage it by just kind of
It's just really clear that Togashi did not think of everything. Like he
yeah.
just kind of like made shit up as he went.
I mean, yeah, that's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
Something something also kind of interesting here concerning like writing process because Togashi I forget where it was said, but I remember reading that Togashi had originally planned for an arc in the series where Yusuke's character is like not turned evil, but like his character is really just kind of deconstructed and broken down. We get traces of that in arcs like the Sensui arc, but like I feel like you can really kind of see the leftovers of that here when Yusuke is like
Yeah.
Yusuke talks to Hokushin and like he's notices like you have the smell of humans on your breath. I know you eat humans. Yusuke Yusuke pointedly says like I don't really judge you for that. I know you gotta do what you can to survive. And like Kuroko kind of judges him for that. She's like, you just talked to a demon about eating humans, and you didn't like. I could tell you didn't really have much of a problem with that. And she pointedly tells Yusuke like, it seems like your grasp on your own humanity is kind of slipping. I feel like nothing really comes of that. Yusuke doesn't like
Yeah.
lose. Yusuke doesn't like lose his humanity across the arc. If anything, like he has a stronger anchor to it than ever. Like, I feel like that might have been
Yeah,
sort
I
of the
feel like it was.
leftovers of this character deconstruction plot that Togashi had thought of and just didn't do.
I think it was like kind of like Raizen was kind of like the most human of the demons, right? And
Right.
so Yusuke was going to, live, with Raizen, who was the most human of the demons. So I guess there wasn't really that much room for like a plot line about um
Losing his humanity.
losing his humanity, but like I don't know.
Yeah.
It could have just been set up different, or he could have
Yeah.
just not even had that line in the first place.
Yeah.
Uh,
Honestly, yeah. Yeah. Um, and the next bit is Kurama and Hiei being contacted by the other two of the three kings. We get some we've gotten some exposition about the layout of Demon World and stuff. It turns out there's like three main factions, each under one leader, that kind of rule most of known Demon World, and those are the three kings. Raizen's one of them, his father, and Hiei and Kurama are both separately contacted by the other two because, like, similar to like how the events of Dark Tournament influenced Chapter Black's plot. Chapter Black's plot is influencing all of this, like the opening to Demon World, the fight they had with Sensui in the Demon World. That's all kind of putting things into place. Yomi and Makuro sensed Kurama and Hiei's powers, and that gave them the idea to get in contact with them. And this is around the time when we first see Yomi and Makuro. I think this is around the time when we see Raizen as well, just not in the same scene. And I just wanted to mention that all the three kings, I think, have really solid designs.
I mean, yeah, they definitely they look cool.
I don't
They're
feel like the plot is what feels like you can really feel like the seat of your pants writing style. And like, there's a lot of really boring characters in this arc, but all three of these characters feel really like fleshed out, well designed.
yeah. They're like the only characters that matter. There's like a bunch of different like sub leaders and stuff, and I don't care.
I'd say it's kind of an even split. There's a lot of characters that I do actually like, mostly thanks to the anime. And there's a lot of characters that are just kind of boring in one note and background.
Yeah, naturally, there's
Uh,
always like a mix.
yeah. Um, Now, overall, like compared to with him being so minor in the Sensui arc and not having like not exactly having much vulnerability in the whole series prior, this arc is doing a lot for Hiei's character. The point where like
Yeah,
I feel like
definitely.
in this scene where he's like showing Kurama Makuro's message to him and like talking to him and stuff, I feel like he's talking more here in this one scene than he had in all of the last arc, honestly.
Yeah, that I feel like Hiei's character is really like the only character that like if this arc were to be cut out, like he would like suffer a lot because, there was the whole setup of him being Yukina's sister, Yukina's brother.
Brother.
Whatever, same
Trans
thing.
EA. Trans
But yeah,
EA.
I mean that was all set up and like we it was implied that there was like a cool history there, and we never got any of that in earlier arcs. So like without this arc, I feel like his character is lesser. Whereas like with like Kurama, sure, like yeah, we learned a lot about Kurama in this arc, but like none of that was really set up prior. I feel like you could just cut all this out, and it doesn't really hurt Kurama.
Yeah,
And like the
Kurama's had a
same with
lot of
Yusuke.
Kurama and Yusuke. They've both had a lot of development across the past two arcs. You know, with Hiei, he hasn't really had it. This is kind of where we
Hmm.
open the floodgates on Hiei. Whereas
Yeah,
Kurama and Yusuke, it's just kind of more.
yeah, just more.
Yeah.
And then
I think
Kuwabara is just, you know,
yeah, Kuwabara is just absent for this arc, but like not in
yeah,
a way that feel. Well, first of all, at least in the manga, he's not really gone for that long. He's gone for maybe a volume's worth of chapters. Um, but like he's not. It makes sense that he's not around because like
he's
none
not
of
a
this
demon.
stuff. He's not a demon. Yeah, none of this stuff really affects him, and like he's he's just got common sense. Like I'm studying for high school. I can't be doing this shit. It's like
Yeah.
yeah, go for it, little man.
Yeah, so Yusuke goes to go talk to Keiko about how he's gonna
Miss
leave.
Keiko.
Yeah,
I'm so used to her being around in the
she's the
anime.
best.
Glad she's being so tough on Yusuke here.
Mm-hmm.
Having her around kind of after that line about Yusuke possibly losing touch with his humanity, having her around is really reminding us of like where Yusuke's heart lies, really.
Mm-hmm.
Him giving her that 3-year promise is sort of our guarantee that Yusuke won't lose his humanity like Kuroko was afraid he would.
Yeah. Um, the one thing about with Yusuke being a demon is like it fucking sucks, but like I feel like I feel like it could have been done so much better. Just like kind of like if they just whole leaned into the whole like Yusuke being like inhumanly strong and like him being like a social outcast and a delinquent. If they like really leaned into that for like the whole series, kind of like how in Naruto like they just constantly flash back to Naruto just being shit on for being like a demon kid.
Right.
If they like did that here with Yusuke, I feel like it could have worked, but
Could have.
it's just
Would have.
no, that
Would have.
didn't happen.
Yeah, it would have taken like knowing that was going to be a thing at the start of the series.
Yeah,
It just wasn't.
it just randomly came up out of nowhere.
I wonder when that was decided that Yusuke would be a Mazoku.
Uh, it could have been right up to like literally the day that chapter was, like the
Yeah.
week that chapter came out, honestly,
Yeah,
because there was
could.
no indication but prior.
Yeah, it literally could have been like, okay, Sensui's killed Yusuke, but he's the protagonist. You got to bring him back. Okay, how do I do that? How do I do that? Demon. He's a demon.
Yeah, it literally could have just been that.
Speaking of demons, we're back in Demon World. Hard cut. One chapter later, opens with Yusuke being like, "Here I am in Demon World."
Yeah. Um,
Just we get a little flashback to him leaving for it. The others.
yes.
Yeah. So he's there in Demon World, and he's taken to Raizen's castle, and here we actually meet Raizen.
Raizen, he has long hair like Demon Yusuke.
Yeah. Wait.
Demon
For
Yusuke.
how little of it we really get in the manga, I feel like their relationship is still kind of interesting, and I like that it starts out so hostile. This guy doesn't need this dude in his life, and he pissed him off first.
Yeah.
Over time, he just kind of learns more about Raizen and actually starts seeing him as sort of this other figure, especially in the anime. They really kind of like leaned into the relationship between those two. The anime does a lot for this arc. Is a point I'm going to be making a lot throughout this section of the episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they also have a little fight here, and we've talked about the art before. And, this fight just looks not good.
Yeah, that's an understatement.
Yeah, yeah,
Could be better.
be better. So yeah, that's pretty much how Yusuke what Yusuke is going to be doing for the next year in story, and the next 4 chapters are going to be two parters that cover what Hiei and Kurama are going to be doing for the next year in story. And the first one is Hiei's.
Yes, Hiei's comes up first.
Yeah,
And we were
and we
just talking about how Hiei's backstory is like actually pretty cool here.
yeah
Um,
actually this is we get a little flashback to when they're leaving for the demon plane, and like Hiei and Yukina have this little moment together. Still doesn't know he's her brother. She's like, "If can you look for him for me?" And this is probably the most we ever get out of the Hiei and Yukina dynamic. And like
yeah.
it's a good scene. It shows us some unexpected depths. Yukina is like whole reason for trying to find her brother is because like she wants him to fulfill that prophecy and kill all the other ice maidens.
Yeah.
She's that
It's
I'm
weird.
sure that's unexpected for a lot of people. Just this sweet little kimono girl wants something like that.
It's weird that like we never act like it it never really gets paid off where like he never actually shows up and like tells her that he's her brother.
Yeah, this is where I would have liked for the truth to be told.
Yeah.
We have we're given quote unquote reasons why that can't be a little bit, but like cut those out.
Yeah.
I would have preferred cut those out and just have it be here. Even if it had, even if it was through the like somebody fucking up and
Hmm.
slipping up, like Botan being like, "Don't talk to your sister like that." Oops. Even that would have just been fine. Just have her say that directly to him
Yeah.
as her brother.
Well, like even later, like um after stuff happens, he then is now allowed to actually talk to Yukina and tell her that he's her
He
brother,
doesn't. Yeah, he
but he
doesn't.
doesn't.
Yeah,
There's no like little tiny, not even like a tiny scene like in the last chapter or two. Nothing.
of them together, and she has like an exclamation point over her head. Nothing like that. Not even
Yeah,
that.
you would think. It didn't even happen in the anime? That's so weird.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, anyways,
He has just been hanging out in a Makuro of the Three Kings place, beating people up and stuff.
yeah, beating people up.
And he gets in, or not reintroduced. We are introduced, but he is reintroduced to one of Makuro's top warriors, Shigure. Actually, find Shigure to be a fairly interesting character. He's a solid
Yeah.
personality. He's got a cool design and weapon. He's tied into the lore.
Yeah. He's one of the few characters who is semi-interesting.
Exactly. Um, yeah, and they have just like a little fight, and it looks he loses an arm to win it, and he ends up chopping the top of Shigure's head off. They both live because Makuro's got these DBZ healing tanks.
Yep. Because why not?
Yeah, and it's around the time we get like an actual little like flashback to Hiei's past with a narration by Makuro probing into his mind, I guess. Probably the most interesting he's ever been character wise. It's getting this outside voice kind of laying into him and explaining like your whole life has just been looking for purpose. It's just been combat and solitude. You don't really want that. You just want like connection. You want your presence to be felt. You want your existence to be acknowledged. And that's kind of like what Hiei's whole bit in this arc is kind of about.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's also when I think we also see Makuro uncovered here. We see like how she we find out she's a woman and see what she looks like without the mask and naked.
Yeah.
She's like all fucked up and scarred and cybernetic a little bit.
Yeah, and okay.
Yeah, it looks neat, interesting, and
I find it weird her cybernetic parts are like hooked up to the DBZ healing tank thing for some reason. I don't know why.
maybe they're charging.
True.
Better if that thing got on it. Yeah, and the last panel is just a little bit of narration saying Hiei became like Makuro's number 2 in that year.
Yeah. He got strong.
Yeah. And now we go into Kurama's two-parter. And
Yeah.
just like how Hiei's two-parter is focused on like his characters so much and all these things that are kind of like thematically important to him, Kurama's two-parter focuses on the past, on planning, on strategy, and on his inner humanity. It's everything the characters are going through fits them very well. We get Kurama's not newly introduced to Yomi like Hiei with Makuro. They have a past, they have a history together. Yomi sought out Kurama specifically.
Yeah. Turns out that they're like buddies.
Old partners of sorts.
Yes.
Yomi is like out of the quote unquote three kings, Yomi is the only one that really feels like a king. He's got like a straight up like city state all to himself. He's got like
Yeah.
advisors. He's got like a war council that Kurama's now a part of.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Makuro just kind of like had her little cave area.
The giant
Um,
centipoid.
that, yeah. And then Raizen just had a tower
A bunch of monks
and a bunch of monks that were just monking around.
looking about.
Yep. Also, we get introduced to the total demonic power here. We get
But yeah, we
actual
get
fucking
power levels.
stats.
Get power levels.
What the fuck?
Yeah, pointlessly.
Yeah.
You could have just stuck with the demon ranking system you already had.
Yeah.
A through S class or
Like,
D through A and S class.
how the fuck are we supposed to like wrap our heads around this in the last like fucking 10 chapters of the series?
I just skipped them. They were so big numbers.
Yeah.
I didn't even fucking bother.
Just like, oh, that has more digits than the other number. Okay, I guess.
Yay!
Wow, there's more zeros at the end of this one.
Squaw.
I guess he's probably stronger in terms of just raw power, but not probably
Maybe.
can't win a fight.
I guess.
And not accounting for rage boosts and getting stronger during a fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Power levels.
Yomi might be the most interesting of the three kings to me. It's like part of that is that, we actually see his empire in effect, feeling most like most like an emperor, like a king. And like he does a lot to try and impose this power over Kurama.
Mm-hmm.
In actions like the torture of his once assassin and the way he tries to like control Kurama through his family, they feel the most twisted. I think that his unchanging expression and our inability to see his eyes kind of add to that feeling of like untouchableness with him.
I think really what it is like with Hiei's two-parter, it was really just about Hiei and his backstory, Whereas with Kurama's backstory, it's about Kurama and Yomi.
Right.
Like, yeah.
Kuro's always had, like, from what we saw of their dynamic, Makuro's always had this like interest in Hiei, wanting to like partner with him of sorts. With Yomi, you don't really know what he's after. Does he want to revenge Kurama secretly? Does he really want Kurama to be his advisor, and he'll do anything to have that power over him? It's like Yomi is the Raizen kind of lays out the standards of the three kings in a little bit. He wants, and I have a note here. I put in much better words.
Okay.
Yomi Aizen is like, he wants demons to change for the better. He thinks that like by setting an example, he can create a demon world where they no longer have to subsist on humans, and maybe one day there can be peace among the worlds. Kuro is not like looking to change things. She's a traditionalist. She likes the demon world as it is, and it's not going to change things. It's not great, but the worlds have been living like this for a while. We can keep going. Yomi is
We
the
already know
most
what the deal is.
Yomi is the only one who wants to change things, and it's for the worse. He wants to conquer. He wants to conquer all three worlds. He wants to take down the barrier and let demons rush through the human world out as they please, just cause chaos and conquer for him.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. So yeah, yes, that's Yomi, and I think from there we move into one of the parts I'm sure everybody remembers about this arc, which is Kurama was asked by Yomi to train up 6 demons, like up to S class, for him, join his force. And Kurama goes to see them, and we see, even though they can feel pretty superfluous to the actual story of this arc, we get our 6 friends from the Dark Tournament back.
Yeah.
Shu and Rinku and Jin and Toya and Suzuki and Shishiwakamaru.
Who doesn't want to be there?
Yeah. It's very Shishi, like he wanted nothing to do with these guys, even back like after being defeated, to the point where like in that 2-page spread I mentioned where like all of the surviving Dark Tournament characters were around, Shishi was on the side with Elder Toguro, whereas these other 5 were on the side with Yusuke and company. Guess he was just popular, or Togashi just liked him enough to bring him back.
Probably.
He's also got a new imp form. It's cute looking.
Yeah, he's interesting looking, I guess.
But it's fun to have them back. Were you excited to see them?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
One thing that I always thought was weird is that like they're just like pretty much all of them, most of them, they just look human, but they're demons.
Yeah. I mean, that's always been kind of a thing.
Yeah, it's just weird that like
so.
all of them just happen to be humanoid demons.
Yes.
Yeah. I guess it's just because it's hard to empathize and care about a non-humanoid looking demon.
If they have like, you're not gonna have as much fans clamoring to see more of them if they got like gross, ugly pig face and like 3 eyes and 7 nipples.
Well, scratch the 7 nipples part, but yeah, the other ones.
I guess. I think that covers all of the stuff that happened in Kurama's. Oh yeah, he has a little fight with Yomi's other second command and kills him.
Yeah, he just kills that dude.
And
fuck
yeah,
it. Why not?
I think this is the point where we go back to Yusuke. I think this chapter covering Raizen's death might actually be one of my favorites in the series, just because of how much it illuminates Raizen's character. backstory with the lady doctor is intriguing and very, very wistful. His ideals for the future are fun to hear. Doesn't see himself as somebody who can lead in the future, but as instead as something transitional for a newer, better kind of demon race. And one day there can be free passage, and eventually he has to just passes on in such like an understated way. Just kind of sits down and he's like, "Man, I'm still so hungry," and that's just it. It after they just kind of picked at each other for like their first meeting. It's neat seeing Raizen and Yusuke have this heart to heart.
Mm-hmm.
What did you?
I don't know. I don't have really any thoughts on that.
I think you get a lot better with all the extra time the anime is dedicating to this arc and fleshing things out. You're getting a lot more out of this.
Yeah, I didn't want to watch the anime because fuck, the anime is really boring in my opinion.
Little stinko.
Well, so we watched a couple of episodes like 2 weeks ago or whatever,
It's like
and
one episode.
it was like one episode or 2 episodes maybe. I don't know.
I think it was one.
I don't know. I didn't really like um I didn't really like the dub. I just didn't like a lot of the things that were added, to be honest. I don't know. It just
Maybe
didn't really I didn't like it. So
well,
I didn't watch the anime.
maybe in the future after you get the manga out of your head.
Perhaps that'll probably happen. Um anyways,
Oh yeah. With Raizen dead, Yusuke's now the king. So he heads off to he wants to go meet Yomi.
Yomi.
Yeah. He and Hokushin head over to Gandara. Is that the name of
Something
Yomi's?
I think
Along those
so.
lines.
Gandara. Yeah,
Yeah.
Gandara.
Goes over and has a little meeting with Yomi.
Yeah. Also, apparently, Makuro is on his way because on her way because war or something.
What is it good for? Yeah. In the manga, she spies on this meeting through like little spy bugs. In the anime, she and Hiei are just kind of like in Gandara, like hiding. And Hiei is like,
Okay.
"Isn't Yomi gonna feel us?" And she's like, "Trust me, if Yomi didn't want us around, he'd make that known. He knows we're here, but he wants us to hear this."
Okay.
Yomi's like this whole scene is about like Yomi preparing for Yusuke, but like not doing it well enough because like he has Kurama and Kurama's 6 demon fighters like in the next room in case Yomi orders like an assassination of Yusuke. He doesn't predict that Kurama and the others would side with Yusuke over Yomi, and at the same time he's like expecting Yusuke to like do something that Raizen would do or Makuro would do about like declaring war, trying a treaty or something like that. He's not expecting Yusuke to suggest a tournament, and
Yeah.
like he's since he let Makuro listen in. Now Makuro is on board with Yusuke, so Yomi's just kind of like between a rock and a hard place,
Yeah, he's kind of just stuck. He's got to do it.
essentially. Scene
Well,
with the scene with the signs in the other room between Kurama and the demon friends is cute and funny.
yeah, cuz Yomi can just hear very well
Yeah.
cuz he's blind and he also has 6 ears.
And Q writes out a dot 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 and Chu just writes out, don't waste paper on dramatic pauses.
True.
Wait, did I say Rinku? I'm sorry, I meant Link.
Whatever.
The manga just changes his name to Link for the arc. I don't know why.
Wasn't he I feel like there were a couple lines in the Dark Tournament where he was called Link also instead of Rinku.
I don't know.
maybe.
He was definitely called Rinku.
Yeah.
Here's Link.
Whatever.
Whatever. So,
Yeah,
yeah, it
I
was
mean,
gonna be a tournament.
I think Yomi did know. Like, I don't think there's any way that Yomi didn't know that Kurama would ultimately side with Yusuke.
Maybe. I'm
I
sure
don't
he
know.
wasn't suggesting like the demon friends as well.
I feel like he just knew that he could easily overwhelm everyone because he's so overwhelmingly strong.
I don't know. That's like 9 um S rank demons all staring him down.
S rank.
Yeah, Rama trained the 6 up to S rank.
Were they S rank? I thought he trained them up. I don't.
Yeah,
Honestly, who cares?
that's what Yomi wanted, 6 X rank demons, and that's what Kurama gave him.
Well, I don't think he said anything about rank, did he? I thought he just said
Yeah.
he wanted the power to be over like 100,000 or something like that.
I think that's what S rank is though.
Um,
I don't
I
know.
honestly don't care.
Yeah. Who fucking all this fucking power levels and rankings and shit, who cares? This is all new.
Yeah.
Don't know whether or not Togashi had a war planned or if this was always going to become a tournament arc. But it's fitting for him to decide a war is too complicated and decide to fall back on the tournament idea.
Yeah.
Not a criticism,
There's
just kind of an observation.
we've already had 2 tournaments, why not a third?
Yeah, who cares? Um. So yeah, everybody starts getting ready for a tournament. Umi's got a son cooking up in the basement.
True.
Sure, he's so interesting.
Yeah.
I and back in Raizen town, Raizen's old buddies arrived because they heard about the tournament and also wanted to pay their respects to their old pal. And, you know, there's Enki and there's Coco, and they're a little fun, but these characters make up a bulk of the uninteresting new characters of the arc.
Yeah. And they just show up and they just all happen to be like as strong as Raizen too.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay.
Anime
I
gives them a little
guess.
bit. The anime gives them a little bit more time because they expand the tournament, but it's not enough to make them actually interesting, really.
Hmm.
And this is around the time where Yomi's real, like, actual character development change starts when he and everybody else feel Raizen's old buddies powering up. Actually, kind of like thought of like people being on his level and actually giving him a challenge actually fires him up a little bit. He starts feeling like his old hot-headed self from back when he and Yoko Kurama were bandit buds.
Yeah.
He's also it's neat to see, and it's also kind of changing a little bit because of his being a father. Like, so we see so little of Shura and their relationship that the changes from that are kind of hard to grasp.
It just all happens way too quickly.
Exactly. Anime gives us more time. Like, there's still, it's too. There's only so much you can really do.
Yeah. I still don't get what was the point of Shura?
Was I'm guessing it was just like an avenue to take Yomi's character that we just didn't get a lot of. The
Yeah.
anime actually gives us a whole episode of Yomi versus Shura,
Okay.
which actually kind of like helps things, but like there's still Shura's still not that interesting. He's basically there so that Yomi can interact with what was essentially his younger self, somebody who's hot-headed and really kind of like trying to prove themselves and prove they're the top dog, and Yomi has to kind of discipline him and teach him the lessons that Kurama had taught him in the past.
Mhm.
Like I said, more pronounced in the anime just because we had more time. Yeah, another difference between manga and anime. In the manga, the announcer for the Demon World Tournament is just some random no-name lady. The anime actually makes you think that's going to be her as well, because like as they're introducing the announcer, we actually see like on the screen it's like a random lady who just kind of looks like that. But then we cut away and we give like a little fanfare introduction to the return of Koto.
Yeah. I I
Hooray.
was I was really disappointed that she wasn't in the manga,
Yeah, I guess
that she
everybody
didn't come
was
back.
because back in the anime version, they gave
Yeah.
her like some serious like fanfare.
I
Fun.
really like that, like I just like random like background characters like this just coming back.
Yeah,
Like in Dragon Ball, it's always the same fucking announcer, and it's cool to like see him like
interact.
interact with like people, the characters as they're changing, like they come back
Yeah,
the next year or whatever, and everybody's different, and you get to see him like react to that, and it's cool.
yeah,
And um
yeah. It's fun.
here it's just, it would have been cool if Kodo was in the manga.
Yeah,
She does come
because
back
yeah,
later though,
yeah. In the
in the
manga,
epilogue section.
epilogue is he's like an idol trio with Ruka and Juri.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Wait, who's Ruka? Is that the
Uh,
new announcer lady?
no, Juri was the new one, not Juri. Ruka was the Team Masha's fight. She was the barrier nurse lady, being
Oh,
Hiei and Genkai in the barrier.
okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That makes sense. I
Yeah,
was
so
I couldn't think of who that was. Yeah.
the tournament's starting up. I think the tournament arena is like so much more unique than past ones.
Yeah.
Maybe Togashi felt comfortable doing something like this since he knew he wasn't going to go on with the tournament for too long.
hmm it's just, yeah, it's cool.
Guess how long the tournament is, people in the manga. It's like
Uh,
2 or 3 chapters.
yeah, I mean, I don't know if I was ready to go into a whole fucking Dark Tournament arc, so I
I
guess I'm
mean,
kind of glad.
yeah, but like we, we miss so much.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's just, mm,
I mean, what does the manga show? Chu is in the preliminaries and fights, and I think in the manga his first round is against Natsume and he loses. In the manga, they were in the same prelims and he loses there. Or in the anime, he's in the same prelims as her and loses there. That's kind
interesting.
of a it's kind of like a little thing that the anime gets a little couple little filler comedy bits out of Chu and Rinku having crushes on
Yeah.
Natsume and Monkey Girl.
Uh-huh.
Sasuga, that was the name. Yeah,
I
but
don't
we
care.
never see the others fight. Um, Yomi versus Shura is shown, and that's it. And we get a chapter of Yusuke versus Yomi, and just as they're gearing up to fight, we cut away. We cut to a year and a half later, and everything else about the tournament is just told to us by Kurama and then Yusuke Kuwabara.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's just weird we got introduced to all these characters, all these people who were like formidable fighters.
We introduced all these Dark Tournament people we like. We got this whole setup. The fate of the world is resting on it, and then
It's just done.
yeah, it's done.
It's just uh
Anime gives
why?
us. I'm just gonna ramble a little bit about what the anime has near the end because they actually, first of all, they show all of Yusuke versus Yomi, and second of all, they actually give Hiei and Kurama like good final fights of the series that kind of like wrap up their characters. Hiei versus Makuro, where like their relationship is explored a bit more, and Hiei just kind of like he doesn't openly like admit it, but like he kind of just like admits to himself like he's fine with losing. as long as because he's made these like connections and stuff. Kurama fights Shigure, and like he just kind of he goes Yoko Kurama, but then he forgoes it. He just kind of like the whole arc has kind of been building on this choice between like, is he gonna choose his demon self or his human self, and that's him choosing his human self. And he also has like a little he doesn't really make up with Yomi, but like they understand each other. Yomi is able to say like he understands Kurama's decision, and there's like a little like later on Yomi decides like going like a training journey with his son, and they have like a tender little goodbye where they understand each other and stuff. And then Yusuke versus Yomi, apart from actually just seeing what happens in it, Yusuke actually kind of like has a character arc in it. He starts to realize like, what do I want? This feels like when I fought Toguro and when I fought Sensui, but I was giving them what they wanted in that situation. What do I want out of this? And it's Yusuke kind of realizing like what he wants out of life. He wants to have these fun fights, but he doesn't want to like keep saving the world and shit like that. And like his demon self and his human self are kind of like going back and forth between them, and he can't really make a decision. So it's about finding balance. He eventually starts mixing his demon energy and his human spirit energy together in a way that lets him break through Yomi's energy barrier, and everybody's all amazed. Yusuke flares up with this aura that kind of feels like the sacred energy of Sensui, but like it's not that. It's something entirely new that only he could make because of his mixed ancestry. He's actually finding some balance and stuff. And so even though he doesn't win, he ends up in a better place after this fight.
Yeah.
And he's satisfied.
I feel like that's kind of weird though, because it wasn't like the whole like moment of him deciding to do the tournament. Wasn't that him like coming to terms with like that he didn't that that he just wanted to fight for fun. He didn't want to fight with high stakes and all that.
It was, yeah, but like maybe I'm not like saying it right. I feel like it's just something you got to kind of watch and experience for
Yeah,
yourself.
sure.
And yeah, he anime shows us like the manga also shows us too in a flashback Enki taking on the demon world throne and essentially being like, okay, only really gonna make one big change, and that's disallowing any mischief in the human world. And that's something that the manga has too.
Yep.
We see it in real time. Oh yeah, in the anime, Koenma Botan and Blue Ogre, they're present for the tournament, like in disguise. Koenma's disguised as tuxedo mask. He and Yusuke have like a little moment after it's all said and done. Yusuke goes to Raizen's grave and has a moment like with his spirit, with Raizen urging him to go home to Keiko and stuff like that.
Okay.
And yeah. Oh yeah, we also learned that the narrator was Blue Ogre the whole time.
Okay.
And yeah, back to the manga. All that like wrap up stuff, it's just kind of like told to us by Kurama, and then Yusuke, who shows up and finally is back from the human world, demon world. He's back in the human world from the demon world.
Mm-hmm. Uh,
Oh yeah,
so he's just back. Yeah.
this is also when we learn about what King Yama's been doing. All of you anime only fans, you probably don't know about this stuff. Apparently, um, separations between worlds was something King Yama wanted, and like was always like apparently always like cooking the books and making like demon criminality and demon violence in the human world, like mucking up the stuff to make it seem like there's more crimes than there actually is. And like to the point of like brainwashing lower level demons to acting violent in the human world and stuff, and that if left to their own, apparently in the past demon violence without all that stuff is only like once every couple of years, and demons aren't actually that bad. So opening up the Kekai barrier, that's actually fine. It would have been fine. Everything's fine.
Yep.
Yeah. Even though that goes against pretty much the whole series, all of the times
Yeah.
we've seen just random low-level demons in the background, they've been plenty bloodthirsty on their own. No sign of brainwashing. No, like.
Yep. You know, there was like Saint Beast, and Hiei is so edgy, and
Remember when Sensui was going to open up a portal to the demon world, and we saw all of those demons clamoring to get out and cause a ruckus?
they just wanted a party or something.
Yeah. Were those two Yusuke and Hiei killed because they were gonna go out and kill people and stuff?
Uh,
Don't get it. Oh yeah, the chapter ends. The chapter ends with Yusuke just kind of like pondering to himself, like, "Huh? So they're really not that bad." You know, as spirit detective, I ended up killing a lot of those guys, and Kurama's just like, "Best not to think about it." I guess, and I guess Yusuke does because that's never followed up on. Yusuke doesn't angst over all the lives he's taken or anything. It's just fine.
yeah.
Nothing comes of this. There's no point.
Fuck, I had another thing I was gonna say and then I forgot it. Oh well.
Is it about that? Is it about how the demons are actually cool and Yama's?
Oh yeah. I guess you could like kind of say that like the demons that were all clamoring to get out of the demon realm, I guess because there was that portal, I guess that was just a buildup of demons from like centuries of just the bad demons that wanted to go kill people. I guess because it's not as though there's not bad demons, but I don't know. I don't care.
We're entering the wrap up chapters here, and you know, as fast as it's coming at us, I like the place where Yusuke is at near the end of the series. Graduated middle school somehow, and he's opened a ramen shop, and he's kind of become the go-to guy for dealing with paranormal problems. It's balance. It's like what he was trying for in the anime, balance between Yusuke, the spirit detective, and Yusuke, the human person wanting to live a normal life of sorts.
Yeah.
And this is where he starts to like get reacquainted with Keiko. She comes to him because there's a problem at her all-girls school, like a little paranormal mystery reminiscent of all of the earlier chapters where Yusuke was a ghost.
Yeah. It's cool. The whole like the whole thing about this is like demons aren't really evil, I guess. It's not always demons that are the problem. Sometimes people like, are bad, I guess.
The story was like two girls in Keiko's dorm, like, or secret footprints appearing in their room at night, even when they lock the door. They think it's a demon, but it turns out it was one of them, like, pranking the other because he wasn't taking volleyball seriously enough or something. And, like, it reminds me of just the earlier chapters where Yusuke is a ghost and solving human world problems.
Yeah, it's cool.
And,
except this time it's just not fucking evil spirits.
Yeah. The message of the chapter is actually given to us straight out in the second to last panel, and it's like sometimes demons aren't the real culprit, sometimes it's just humans. And then the final panel is like breaking the fourth wall and showing Togashi and his editor, and his editor saying like, "But Yusuke's half demon, right?" And Togashi's like, oh, yeah. I guess the idea is like, didn't we already make this point?
Yeah.
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 At
least he knows.
Yeah. Which one comes next? Is next the Makuro one? Makuro one?
I think
I think
so.
I think that's the next one shot.
Yeah, it is.
Actually, they actually kind of take apart this one shot and move it around a little bit in the anime to work it into earlier stuff. The stuff about
that's fair.
yeah, the stuff about like a lot of the Demon World tournament losers were conscripted into like the security service. Whenever humans wander into the Demon World, they rescue them and get them back to Demon World. Hiei's kind of working on that in the final episode of the anime, which takes a lot of different parts of the wrap up and puts them all together. That's added. That's added here. That's added there. This part is added there. Minus Shigure, because in the anime, Shigure kills himself after Kurama defeats him. In the manga, we don't see that fight, so he just lives.
Okay.
And Makuro's backstory, which we'll get later in this chapter, is moved to be told to us during her fight with Hiei during the tournament. And yeah, that's kind of what the point of this chapter is, to give us Makuro's backstory, because I'm guessing Togashi was like, oh yeah, I never got to do that. Apparently it's her birthday and she's feeling extra temperamental because this is a very, very, very gritty, terrible backstory, like berserk levels of like just awful stuff happening. She was like a child slave to like a guy who'd do terrible berserk stuff to her.
Just not good. Not good.
Not good stuff.
Yes.
And Hiei's birthday present to Makuro is to hook him up to a special plant Kurama gave him that like basically turned the person immortal, but like catatonic, I guess, so that she could torture him for eternity. And that's his birthday present to her, and she loves it. Happy birthday, Makuro. Hey.
Okay.
Yeah.
Basically.
Moving on to the next chapter.
It's just a bunch of side stories.
Yeah, it's just like a bunch of side story wrap ups for a lot of minor characters, which I appreciate. It's all pretty cute. It's mostly like relationship stuff.
Yeah.
Like Chu following up on like Chu and Natsume. We see all of the three psychic boys from the Chapter Black arc.
Yeah.
Oenma and Ayame, the other free girl for the River Styx that we saw in the Chapter Black arc briefly. Apparently, she likes him or something.
Yeah.
And, we get to meet Yusuke's dad, actual dad.
Oh wait, really?
Yeah, that was the guy with Atsuko.
I thought that was just like her ex or what? Well, I guess yeah, but okay. Yeah. I didn't. I just assumed that like he was a character who showed up in like one of the first chapters, and I just forgot about him. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, he mentioned seeing Yusuke as a kid or something. So apparently he was around when Yusuke was like a little kid.
Yeah, that's why I was like, okay, I guess he was just a guy. Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah. And the ending finally gives Yusuke and Keiko a happy ending of sorts. We also get a little look at Yukina and Kuwabara too. It's all nice little relationship wrap up stuff.
Yeah.
Moving on to the second to last chapter, going off of fun little relationship one shots, we have world-ending terrorists firing a disintegration cannon at Sariashi.
Yeah, now apparently there's fucking cultist terrorists.
In the spirit world,
Okay.
and we're getting the gang back together. All this fucking very high stakes stuff coming off of wrap up material it really doesn't fit. It's nice seeing the gang back together one last time, though. We haven't seen that since the fight against Sensui. My God, what is with this chapter?
I don't know.
Some funny bits. I love the one page of
Yeah.
like they set up like we have to do this within 5 seconds, and then it's like 4 panels being like second number one, like 1 second and 21 milliseconds in, Kurama gets into the door. 2 seconds and 33 milliseconds in, Kuwabara and Yusuke makes small talk.
Yeah.
4 seconds and 55 milliseconds in, Hiei takes 5. That made me laugh.
That one was good. He's just chilling.
Yeah.
We get like the Star Wars thing where they're disguised as the guys.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
They save everybody, but cannon's still gonna fire. There's 3 buttons. Yusuke has to press one or it'll go off automatically. One will fire the cannon, one will make it self-destruct, and one will just turn it off. He's just kind of got to pick one. He tells everybody to get away. Pooh is there with them. They rode Pooh all the way here.
Yeah.
Just like in the Dark Tournament, Genkai's spirit takes over Pooh, which they explain next chapter as like her spirit was already on its way out. She was dying of old age.
Yeah.
And she just gives him some encouragement. He presses a button, and we cut ahead to the next chapter.
Yeah.
Final chapter. Were you? I don't know if this was just me, but I assumed. I didn't even ask my question.
Ask it.
I assumed that Yusuke failed and the cannon fired because the start of the next chapter opens up with like we see a bunch of graves.
Yeah. Well, I was like, yeah, it's obviously Genkai. I knew. I was like, yeah.
I mean, I knew it would be Genkai's grave, but there was just a lot of graves. I thought, like, wait, who died? Did he fail? What the fuck?
No, it's just a cemetery.
And
how do you know?
But like, I know it's a cemetery. I know there's supposed to be a lot of graves, but like think about where I'm coming from.
No, I can't.
Part of the last chapter ended with the possibility of a lot of people dying, and we're opening on a big ass cemetery. I thought for a second, like, wait, did he fuck up? What?
I'm pretty sure that.
Yeah, I'm sure he did it. I'm sure he pressed the right button.
No, I'm pretty sure that if he did press the wrong button and the fucking laser fired, wasn't that like a world-ending thing? Wasn't that like?
Yeah, but like we cut away from the fucking final major battle with Yomi. Why wouldn't at this point nothing's gonna surprise me? Why wouldn't we cut away from the fucking world ending?
But then, if the world's ending, then why is there a fucking cemetery? There's no
fucking no.
Mike.
I just
it's Genkai, okay? That's it. Okay?
They're at Genkai's grave. It's like a year and a half later. They're hanging out. They're hanging out at Genkai's estate. This is part of this is where most of the final episode of the anime comes in, except like Genkai's still alive, and instead of reading her will, she's just telling them like, "I'm probably gonna die soon. This whole space is yours." Yeah.
Wait, is that Shizuru?
Yeah, Shizuru.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. It feels weird to see her here in the manga because she's so non-present in the manga.
Yeah, we haven't seen her like since the fucking Dark
Her
Tournament.
tournament. Yeah.
Well, also, it's just weird that she actually has a job
Oh yeah.
and she's not a deadbeat. She seemed like it.
But yeah, we also saw Kuwabara's dad in one of these chapters. I forgot that.
Oh yeah, I think yeah.
He's like this weird pimp looking dude.
Yeah, that was so weird.
You think
Ugh.
that's do you think he's Atsuko's pimp? Oh god.
That's amazing.
I don't think so, because Kuwabara would never let that go.
Yeah.
Any time Yusuke starts just mouthing off to him, he'd be like, "Hey, my dad is your mom's." Oh, oh goodness,
That would be so good.
that would. What a twist to end the manga on.
Oh my god.
Goodness gracious.
It would
Yeah,
be even better if
I shit her
uh
pants one more time.
yes. It would be even better if Atsuko ended up with Kuwabara's dad.
Yeah, they're brothers now.
That they're stepbrothers.
Yeah,
That'd be great.
dude, live action Yu Yu Hakusho starring Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly.
Yeah. Um yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
The last chapter is just like a little down to earth little thing. They're just hanging out. Not really much to say. It's just a cozy little ending.
Yeah, it's just cool. You get the cool ending with Yusuke and Keiko.
Everybody's happy and not dead.
Yes, except for
Except
Genkai.
Genkai.
Yeah. Yeah, we got a cool we got a picture of the four guys, I guess after the Dark Tournament or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I guess these are just from the
Volume.
volume. There's just, pick art of all the characters.
Yeah. Just a bunch of illustrations to just
Yeah.
pad out the rest of the volume, essentially.
Which is cool. I like it.
Yeah.
You
That's
get
nice.
a lot. There's actually a lot of characters.
Yeah.
Which is pretty
a lot
cool.
Of characters.
I like it.
In this series. So that's Yu Yu Hakusho. What did you think?
It was Yu Yu Hakusho. Yeah.
It really was.
Yeah. Those are my thoughts. It was cool. I talked about this a lot, but actually reading it, you really see like all of like it's like a big inspiration for like, Naruto and Bleach and just all like yeah, Konosuba. All like the more recent shonens and like even non-shonens, just because it's just such like a cultural like
Yeah, it was
cultural
a huge
phenomenon. I even actually I saw on Reddit yesterday. I saw like an image of like the top 10 best-selling shonen series, and it was on there, which I was actually surprised. Because it actually Bleach wasn't even on the list, but Yu Yu Hakusho was there, so I was surprised.
Nice.
But yeah, I mean it's like I said, it's a big inspiration for a lot of series. So actually reading through it, like it's just cool to see like where a lot of those things came from.
It's like you're seeing the roots to a lot of series you already like.
And unsurprisingly, it does a lot of those things even better than the things that derive from it. Like Naruto. But yeah, it was cool.
Yu Yu Hakusho will always hold a special place for me, I think, and a lot of people as well. People who watched on Toonami and such.
Yeah, in that way, it was really similar to Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'll probably at some point I'll probably like watch the anime or something.
I've got the
Um,
Blu-rays. Got the Blu-ray
Neat.
steelbooks.
All right. Maybe I'll ask at some point. Although it's also on Funimation, so like
Yeah, it's on
that's
Funimation.
just easy.
Yeah. Uh,
Uh, yeah.
where
I don't really have much else to say.
either. We can wrap up here then, and we'll tell you all about what we're going to be reading next. We're going back to JoJo's for Part 5, Golden Wind, or Vento Oreo, if you're someone like me who
Wow.
read the manga before. I watched the anime version of it.
True. Damn,
That's
I can't
where
believe we're going back to JoJo again. What's up with that?
it's almost like there's a lot of fucking JoJo.
Almost, yeah.
We'll be reading Part 5, chapters 1 through 46, which is the beginning arc, Golden Wind, through Man in the Mirror and Purple Haze. And
Okay.
I believe that's anime episodes like 1 through 12, 1 through 13.
Something.
Somewhere along those lines.
Sounds right.
See you then. Oh yeah, Ezra's coming back to join us.
Oh yeah,
Our pal that covered part 3 with us.
that'll
They'll
be
be
cool.
dropping back in.
Can't wait to
See you
hear
then.
more of those stand explanations.
Oh yeah.
All right.
See you then.
Um